One of my favorite things to do inside of Roblox Grow a Garden is to grow huge fruits and to get every single mutation on those fruits so I can see what the max value of fruits will actually be inside of Roblox Grow a Garden. In this video, I grew every single mutation on the most overpowered fruits inside of the game, and I saw some huge income from these fruits. Make sure to watch until the end of the video to see exactly how much money I made. So I actually placed some sprinklers down a second ago, so I guess we could just use our stack of sprinklers right here because we have all 4 of our sprinklers already in there. And with that, I am going to spawn in all of our mooncats because, you know, we got to do that. We got to get a big giant pine cone. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out some watering cans and try to get this thing to grow faster. And I have about 700 watering cans left. We're running out of materials, man. Jandel, please, we need that creator program to open back up. I need some help out here. All right, our giant pine cone is looking pretty big. I don't really know if there's only one that grows on this or multiple. This is the first time I'm growing this thing. Also, while we grow this giant pine cone, big shout out to my uncle because when I was a toddler, I didn't want to get out of the swimming pool, and I got really upset at my uncle for telling me to get out of the swimming pool, so I threw a giant pine cone at him. Thankfully, my aim as a toddler was not good because it didn't even get near him, but I got in trouble for doing that. Our giant pine cone plant is grown. Now, I don't actually know where the pine cones grow on this. I assume it's just on these branches, but these are some really high branches up here. We have giant pine cone life form spotted. Oh, that's a big pine cone. Wow, those really are giant. I don't know if it's supposed to be that big of a pine cone. All right, to help us out, I'm going to bring my main account over here that looks exactly like me, and I'm going to grow all, and let's see how big this pine cone actually is. All right, let's see it. What happened to the plant? Which one do I even take? Why? This gold one might be the one we want to get. I mean, I can't really tell anything else. I can't tell what's going on. All right, I'm going to favorite this big gold one right here. All right. I'm going to carefully. There we go. Okay, yeah, this gold one is definitely the biggest one. It's just this entire pine cone right here. All right, so we have our giant pine cone. I'm going to go ahead and use our... Oh, like I got to click like up here. There we go. All right. Oh, that's blinding. All right, there's our shock spray mutation. I'm going to save the cloud touch. We'll do pollinated. We'll do chocolate. And then we'll have our main account actually help with putting chilled on this. All right, so now we have technically 5 mutations, but gold does not work to convert this to rainbow. So before I give it the last mutation, I'm going to pick up all these mooncats. We're going to go ahead and spawn in a butterfly and a queen bee. So the queen bee will give the butterfly's cooldown done 6 minutes faster. And we're going to go ahead and add a honey sprinkler down next to this thing. All right, so now we have shock, chocolate, honey glaze, pollinated, and chilled. Those are the 5 mutations that we'll need for this butterfly to convert. And then we'll have this thing rainbow, and then we can move forward. But wow, is this pine cone big? I did not expect this. I guess we can compare the size real quick of all of the other giant pine cones we got. So this is the next biggest one, and... it's about the same size. It actually might be a little bit smaller. So I think we made the right choice here. All right, well, now we're going to wait for these guys to do their cooldown so we can get rainbow. All right, so our queen bee is about to cool down our butterfly so we can get our giant pine cone rainbow. And also, look at this. It actually rained and I got this thing frozen, which like never happens. I never have that kind of luck with the wet mutation applying from rain. But the one time I do it, we're not ready yet. All right, there we go. Our giant pine cone is now rainbow. It still looks very gold, but it's rainbow. Just picture that as a rainbow. All right, we're going to pick up these 2 pets here, and we're going to get down to some business now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and spawn in 2 disco bees to get the disco mutation applied to this thing. We're going to spawn in 2 cooked owls to either get cooked or burnt. We're going to spawn in 2 chicken zombies to get zombified, which also there is a new infected mutation, which if I was able to get admin mutations, hopefully soon we could get those again. We could get another zombie mutation. And since I already am going to be able to put cloud touch on this from a spray, we're going to do a scarlet, and then we're going to do a sea turtle. That way we can get verdant, and then the sea turtle can apply wet so we can get this thing back to being frozen. So there's all of our pet spawns. We're going to go ahead and use our spray mutations here. So I have some cloud touch spray. We're going to, there we go. All right, cloud touched. We're going to put chocolate on it. We're going to put shocked and pollinated on it, and we're going to use a honey sprinkler to get honey glazed on this thing. I guess right there should work. There we go. All right, and then our main account is going to apply chilled to our big pine cone here. All right, there we go. So we got amber, and then we're going to apply chilled. All right, so there we go. We now have Amber and we have Chilled on this and Cloud Touch. So we're up to 8 mutations on our giant pine cone. All right, so I'm leaving on my main account. So we're going to wave goodbye. Thank you, main account. You look as handsome as I do on my alt account. And now is the time we wait for these pets to do stuff and we wait for some events to happen. Ah, sea turtle applied wet to giant pine cone. All right, well, this is now frozen at least. Oh, let's go. Our disco bee just applied disco to our giant pine cone. We got disco, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to go ahead and pick up our disco bees now that that's done. And we'll increase our cooked owls and our chicken zombies since those are more difficult to get. So let's go ahead and put a chicken zombie down. Let's put another cooked owl down and we should be good. Our chicken zombie just applied zombified to our giant pine cone. At least, I guess there's a giant pine cone that's growing inside our giant pine cone I gotta pick up. Okay, there we go. So we got zombified on our giant pine cone, which we actually got that one before we got cooked or burnt and before we got verdant. So with that, though, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in another scarlet to increase our verdant chances. And I guess I'll go ahead and spawn in, I think I could spawn in, what, 2 more cooked owls? Yeah, there we go. All right, so that way we can get the final pet mutations done on this thing. Oh, nighttime. We can get moonlit on this. That's perfect. I can't pick up these at the top, so I'm just going to wait. Let's go ahead and unfavorite this so we can get other mutations on it. And let's see, do I have any more night staffs? No, I don't. I only had the one. All right, hopefully we get moonlit. Oh, perfect. Is that the big? That's the big guy. Big guy now has moonlit applied. All right, we just got lucky and a meteor shower just spawned in so we could get celestial on our giant pine cones. I don't know if we have a star crawler underneath this thing. I think we do. Hello? It's kind of hard to see in there. I want to say we have a, yeah, I see it's right there. And I guess we'll get our trowel ready so in case it decides to target this one, we can move this. We can either press C to cancel if it's going to the correct one. If it's not, we're going to move it over to this one quick. And hopefully this works. Hopefully we can get Celestial on this. Okay, that might have just ruined it. Wait, I saw it flicker. Let's go. We got Celestial. All right. We haven't had Celestial on one of these in a while. And one of our pets is about to do something. Okay, we failed burnt, but I'm glad we at least got Celestial. Hook us up with the verdant mutation and burnt, and then hook us up with some better events, man. Oh, let's go. We just had to ask nicely, I guess. All right, so while I was AFK, we finally got Windstruck applied to our giant pine cone. I really want to try to get a Twisted event so we can combine Windstruck with Twisted to get that new mutation. And our cooked owls are still struggling, man. We still haven't gotten burnt on our giant pine cone here. Now, they applied it to this one. They applied it to one up there. Excuse me. Anyways, they're applying it to everyone but the big one, so I'm just gonna let these sit here, and then hopefully in a minute, they'll all just target the big one, and then we can finally have burnt done. Okay, so we just got a heat wave to spawn in, which is perfect, so we can get this verdant to turn into paradisal, but we gotta get these tanning mirrors to get some heat. I'm gonna put a couple more down just so we don't miss our chance of doing this. And there we go. They're being affected by the heat wave, and that should give us, yep, there we go. We got paradisal, and I don't think it stacks anymore. It's sun-dried. We're also still waiting to get burnt or cooked. If we would get sun-dried again, this would be 15 mutations. But once we get burnt on here, it should be about 15. And then hopefully we can get drenched. I really want to try to get drenched and sandy on this, and also twisted. Okay, I just missed it on the recording, but we finally got the burnt mutation on our giant pine cone. That took quite a long time. We did it. We finally have every pet mutation on here. So this thing is looking really good. I really want to see if we can try and get drenched on this and if we can get sandy on it. Those would be really 2 good ones to have on this, and twisted. If we can convert Twisted and Windstruck into that new Tempest mutation, whatever it's called, so we can get this thing completely maxed out minus the admin events. Oh, okay. All right, we got another sandstorm blowing through. Hopefully we can get the sandy mutation added on. I'm going to quickly get some sprinklers down on here. Hopefully increase our chances. There we go. And let's see if we can get sandy. I don't know if any other part of this thing is sandy. Yeah, so sun-dried. All right, so we got sandy on it, though. You didn't get to see that. There's probably a jump cut there. But yeah, we did officially get sandy on here. So we do have frozen, but I want to see if I can get that sandy to turn into clay, and then we can get this thing ceramic, possibly. I'm going to put some sea turtles down just to see if they'll get this thing wet again. and then we can get this to clay, and then we could possibly get this to ceramic so we can stack on that mutation, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if these guys will convert it because we already have frozen, but it's worth a shot. Let's see if anything happens. All right, so after waiting around for like an hour, all of my sea turtles did not apply wet to this giant pine cone. I don't even know if they applied it to any of the other pine cones. Okay, it looks like they did. There's some of these that they applied it to, but it kept failing on the giant pine cone. And I don't know if that's because I already have frozen on it, but I feel like there was probably a chance where they could have still gotten sandy to turn into clay. But anyways, in total, we have 16 mutations on our giant pine cone. The only 2 that we are missing, well, besides sandy turning into ceramic, would be twisted, which would have mixed with windstruck for that new mutation, and then also drench. But we pretty much have gotten all the other possible mutations that you can get without any admin help besides those 2. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and collect our giant pine cone, and here it is, our giant mutated pine cone. So without further ado, let's get the value. Steven, what are we looking at today? 122 billion. Now, if we actually got all of the admin mutations on it, I can only imagine that this thing would probably have hit the trillions mark. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in 7 mooncats here instead of the 8 that we used to do, because we're going to throw in a triceratops, because this guy will speed up the growth of our plant and then also help us get a huge plant combined with the mooncats. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and place our sprinklers down next. So we do have this new Grand Master sprinkler, and this should give us some pretty fast growth and some good mutations and all sorts of good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this OP Grandmaster sprinkler down. It covers almost the entire garden. We're gonna put a master sprinkler underneath that. Then we're gonna put our godly sprinkler in there, advanced sprinkler, and then our basic sprinkler. And within all that, we're gonna put our grand tomato plant down. So our grand tomato plant is now growing. We have some mooncats on it, and then our triceratops should target it and make it grow a lot faster. And we should hopefully get a pretty big grand tomatoes. I'm gonna water it just a little bit more just to keep it sprouting up a little bit faster. There we go. It's at 10% now, 11. I'm going to quickly trowel this over here in between these mooncats. Wow, this thing is going to be big. That only went up another 10%. This is crazy. Oh, okay, that triceratops just hit it, and now it's actually at 96%. So whenever this next one hits it, we might get our first sets of tomatoes to actually grow in. All right, it's fully grown now. So now our grand tomato plant is done and it's fully grown in. Now we just got to wait for the fruits. Now our next triceratops right here is about to smack it. So we'll see if it gets us some pretty big fruits. Oh my, okay. Those are pretty big tomatoes. All right, our grand tomatoes are now fully grown in, and it looks like our gold one here is going to be the biggest one from what I can tell. That one has 7.5 studs going across the top, and then this one only has, like we said, 7, and then this one's only about 6. So yeah, I think we have our winner here, which is this gold one. So I'm gonna go ahead and favorite that. We're gonna pick up the other ones that are in here. All right, well, we do have gold on it, but gold does not count towards getting rainbow, and we do need 5 mutations total, but gold is not even considered 1 when we're trying to get rainbow with the butterfly. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're going to apply pollinated to it. I guess we'll apply wet to it because that's like a free one there. Shock, chocolate, and then I also have this extra windstruck spray, which you don't really need because I have pterodactyls, so I'm going to go ahead and spray that. And there we go. We have 5 mutations that we can use now, and we're going to spawn in a queen bee and a butterfly. So the queen bee's cooldown is about 7 minutes shorter than the butterflies. The queen bee will cool down our butterfly, convert all these mutations to rainbow, and then we can start getting the other mutations. All right, and then over here on my main account, I'm going to go ahead and spawn in my queen bee and my kitsune. They were spawned in, but I have to reset the timers so then they line up with our grand tomato after it gets rainbow, and that way this will be a little bit closer in sync. So once we get rainbow on it, we can get chakra applied right away. All right, well, we have about 2 minutes left for our queen bee's cooldown to be done to convert our grand tomato here to rainbow, but we just got a nighttime event, so I'm really hoping that these 2 minutes go fast and that we can get this thing to rainbow so then we can get our grand tomato to turn moonlit. That way we don't have to wait around for our tanukis to give us moonlit or for another night event. All right, our queen bee's cooldown is done. Our butterfly is now being cooled down, and we will take 5 of these mutations, well, pretty much all of them at this point, and then we'll turn our grand tomato into rainbow. There we go. Our grand tomato, which is huge by the way, is now rainbow. So we can go ahead and pick up our butterfly, pick up our queen bee. Oh, there we go. Perfect. We got Moonlit added to our Grand Tomato right away. So I'm going to go ahead and favorite this now so I don't accidentally pick it up. Let's go down our sprays. We're going to go ahead and apply Shock to this. Pollinated. We're going to go ahead and apply Wet as well so we can use our Kappas to turn that to Bloodlit. We're going to apply Chocolate. Then we're also going to apply a Honey Sprinkler so we can get Honey Glazed. And our Kitsune just stole it from my main account, so that should have applied Chakra. So real quick, let's go ahead and check everything that we have here. So we have 8 mutations. I'm going to favorite that again real quick. And then on my main account, I'm going to apply the Verdant Spray Mutation and Cloud Touched. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn in first 2 Disco Bees so we can try to get Disco applied to it. We're going to spawn in 1 Pterodactyl so we can go ahead and get Windstruck and hopefully Twisted so we can get Tempestuous. Go ahead and spawn in for now just 1 Kappa to try to get this to turn Bloodlit. We'll spawn in 1 Cooked Owl for Cooked or Burnt. We'll spawn in 1 Chicken Zombie for now for the Zombified Mutation. We'll also go ahead and spawn in our Corrupted Kitsune so we can get Corrupted Chakra, turn that into Harmonized Chakra. And then I guess finally we'll spawn in 1 of our Scarlets for now. We do have Verdant, but we do have a Tranquil Scarlet and a Corrupted Scarlet, so we need to try to get Tranquil and Corrupted. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn in our Tranquil Scarlet here. Now we're up to 8 pets, so we have lots of mutations that we can look forward to getting. And now we just got to wait around for them to do their things and for events to happen, and then we can start stacking up mutations on our Grand Tomato. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use some of my toys here to boost some of our pets' cooldowns and also give us higher chances to get some of these mutations. So we're going to go ahead and boost the Corrupted Kitsune to hopefully get Corrupted Foxfire Chakra. Let's see. Okay, we only got 1 Corrupt Chakra. I don't even think he applied it to our big one. Yeah, no, all right, so we're still going to have to wait for that, but that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and use this on our Pterodactyl to try to get Twisted done. Okay, we only got Windstruck. We did not get Tempestuous. We did not get Twisted mixed with Windstruck. Eventually, I can use our Pterodactyl again and try to get our Pterodactyl to apply Tempestuous to like a carrot or something, and then use a T-Rex to eat it, and then spread it to our Grand Tomato here. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and pick up our Pterodactyl. For now, I am going to use a Raiju here to get static applied to our Grand Tomato. So what I'm going to go ahead and do for that is I'm going to go ahead and put a carrot down right here. We're going to apply Shocked to it. And then we're going to spawn in our Raiju. So he will eat this shocked carrot and then apply static to our Grand Tomato here. Oh, and I almost forgot, but to save some time here, since we did get Corrupt Chakra on one of our Grand Tomatoes, I am going to go ahead and pick up our Corrupt Kitsune here, and we're going to replace him with a Spinosaurus, so we can work on getting that Corrupt Chakra moved over. And that way, if any of our other pets get mutations applied to these smaller Grand Tomatoes, they should be able to just move it right over. All right, our Raiju is running over to eat the Shocked off this carrot, and then he's going to convert that to static and apply it to our Grand Tomatoes. There we go. The big one is instantly converted to static. That's good. So we don't have to use a Spinosaurus to move that over. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this Raiju. And now we're going to introduce the new pet, which is the Spaghetti Sloth. And again, the Spaghetti Sloth every 14 minutes will go to a nearby fruit and does a cooking. And it will apply pasta, sauce, or meatball mutation. So we could probably get all 3 of these and actually get them all to our Grand Tomato, as they'll probably apply it to the smaller Grand Tomatoes. So we should be able to get 3 extra mutations on our Grand Tomato. All right, so let's go ahead and also use these medium toys here to see if our Disco Bees will apply Disco. Okay, we got 1 to apply Disco. Since this big guy here is favorited, I'm going to pick up these 2 Disco Bees, and I'm going to spawn in another Spinosaurus, so that way they can move those over. And that looks good for now. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for these guys to apply their mutations. I'm going to go AFK for a little bit while they do their work, and once we come back, we'll see what has happened. All right, so I just got back, and it looks like our Spinosauruses moved that Corrupted Chakra over, so now we have Harmonized Chakra, but that looks like that's the only thing that happened when we were gone. Now, we do have some other Grand Tomatoes that have grown in here. One is Static. I can't really tell what these ones are. I know this one has Disco on it, and this one seems to have Tranquil on it. Oh, okay, so Kappa just used its conversion to make one of these Grand Tomatoes Bloodlit, And we do have Tranquil on this Grand Tomato, so we can get those moved over. So, and we also did just get zombified on one of these Grand Tomatoes as well. So we can go ahead and get rid of our chicken zombies here. And we can go ahead and get rid of our Tranquil Scarlet and our Kappa. And then what we're going to go ahead and do after that is we're going to go ahead and spawn in our Corrupted Scarlet so we can get the Corrupt mutation done. All right, so I went ahead and used my main account to grow all of my Grand Tomatoes here just so I could see what mutations we have. So yeah, we have quite a few on these Grand Tomatoes that we need to move over. This one doesn't have anything that we need, so I guess I can get rid of this static Grand Tomato up here. But these other two, we have quite a few here. This one, we actually need everything on it to be moved over to our big Grand Tomato. We have Bloodlet, Disco, Meatball, and Pasta. We do need to get Sauce. That's the last one. And then we also have Zombified on this one. And then this one, we have Tranquil on it, which is pretty much the only one we need from that one. But in the meantime, we also need to wait for these polar bears to give us Chilled, so we can get that moved over to our big Grand Tomato, get that frozen. All right, we did just get Chilled, though, applied to Grand Tomato. So yeah, now literally everything on this Grand Tomato here needs to just get moved over to our big one. All right, let's see what our Spinosaurus eats and moves over. Okay, we got Chilled and Static. We didn't really need Static again, but that's fine because now our big Grand Tomato here is frozen. And when our next Spinosaurus eats, we should be able to get Tranquil done and then one of these good mutations off of this. All right, so I just got back and it looks like we did get Corrupt from our Scarlet. So that is awesome because usually that takes forever. So Corrupt is done. We're going to go ahead and pick up our Corrupted Scarlet then. And then we also looks like we got Burnt on our Grand Tomato here. So we still need to wait for this Corrupt, this Bloodlet, Burnt, and Pasta to move over to our big Grand Tomato. But we did get Zombified moved over and we did get Meatball moved over. And then I guess the last thing we'll need to do is just make sure we can get Tempestuous done. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now to try and get Tempestuous going is I'm going to plant the rest of these carrot seeds I have, and I'm going to spawn in some pterodactyls again and try to get Tempestuous on one of these carrots or on one of these Grand Tomatoes. So once we have Tempestuous, we can have our Spinosauruses move that over to our big Grand Tomato, and then we should pretty much be done with all the pet mutations. All right, let's see what our Spinosaurus converts over. Okay, we got Bloodlet. We already had Windstruck and we already had Meatball, but we did get Bloodlet moved over to our big Grand Tomato. So now we just have to get Corrupt moved over, and then we have to get Burnt and Pasta moved over. But we're making some good progress. Our Pterodactyls will hopefully give us Tempestuous, so we can get that done and out of the way. We also have our Sloth here, who's hopefully going to apply Sauce. Can we get that Sauce done, please? So I don't know what happened in this area of the video, but I guess some of my footage did not get recorded and my microphone was also muted. But pretty much what happened is my Spinosauruses did move over Burnt and Corrupt to the Grand Tomato. And then we also got Tempestuous from our Pterodactyl on this carrot. So I was trying to explain that we're going to wait for my Spinosaurus to move that over to the Grand Tomato. All right, so I just got back from being AFK, and we did get our Tempestuous moved over, but it looks like we still have not gotten Sauce. Oh, we do have Sauce on this Grand Tomato up here. So once this one is moved over, then we'll have all the pet mutations done. So I guess in the meantime, since we have everything else moved over, I'm going to grab these two Grand Tomatoes here. And then we'll leave the Sauce one and we'll get that moved over to our big Grand Tomato. Editing Bandites here again. Sorry to butt in. But for some reason, I guess besides my recording not working fully, my brain was also not working because I already had Sauce applied to my Grand Tomato. As you can see, I have the spaghetti mutation already done, which is Sauce, Pasta, and Meatballs. So I don't know why I didn't realize that. And I don't know why I sat here waiting for Sauce to get moved over. I don't know what was going on in my head. And there we go. We now have Sauce on our Grand Tomato, which is all of our pet mutations done. So yeah, it looks like if you get all three of the spaghetti sloth mutations, it just converts to spaghetti, which is pretty cool. But in total, we have 19 mutations. But if we separate some of these, like Tempestuous, we'd have 20. Spaghetti would have about 23. Frozen would put us at 24. Harmonized Chakra would put us at 25. And that would be 25 total mutations on a Grand Tomato. And since we've been at this for a couple hours, I think it's been about 3 or 4 hours since I started this, we are just going to go ahead and pick up our Grand Tomato and try and see what we can get for all of these mutations on it. I'm hoping that we can get a good value with Steven today. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up our Grand Tomato here with all these mutations. Look how big this thing is too. This thing is humongous. So I think this should be worth quite a lot of money. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and walk over here to Steven and we're going to check the value of our grand tomato. So what are we looking at today, Steven, with this grand tomato, which is technically has like 25 mutations on it? Okay, so this thing is worth 330 billion for this size in all of those mutations. I thought it might be a little bit more, like past the 500 billion mark, but that is still pretty good. I mean, look at this thing. This is humongous. All right, so let's go ahead and start off, of course, by spawning in all 8 of our mooncats to get a nice boost. And we're gonna go ahead and put our sprinklers down before we actually plant the seeds. So let's do our master, godly, basic, and advanced. And then we're also gonna try to do a flower froster because I don't know if this is technically a flower seed. I think it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the pack of sprinklers here. All right, I have some watering cans. I'm gonna go ahead and spam some watering cans on this thing to get it to grow in. All right, our Hinnomi is grown in now, or at least it says it's 100%. Let me just give it a couple more watering cans just to make sure it's grown. All right, there we go. Now it's actually done. So I believe the flower itself is supposed to sprout off the very top of the plant, and hopefully we can get a big one. Let's see. Are any of our mooncats sleeping? There's one over here. Let me go ahead and place it in between these two. Oh, there's 3 of them on it. Okay, that might help. And then there's some more over here. Let's just let them sink in. Wait, what the heck? There's like a layer. Oh, wow. I think we actually might have had a really big flower. Now it won't let me pick it up, actually. So I think we have a really giant flower. How am I gonna move this? Yeah, that is huge. All right, well, since it's pretty humongous, I'm gonna go ahead and have my main account come over here and hit the grow all button just so it will grow in a little bit faster. And let's see what size we got. I think we got a good one. All right, let's see it. And yeah, that's a pretty big flower. That thing is literally bigger than the stem. Can we trowel it now though? I don't know. We can't. We literally cannot trowel it. I want to move it back over there, but I can't. So I guess we're just gonna have to leave it there, and any new sprinklers we'll just have to move over here because this thing is not budging. It's so big that I can't move it. All right, well, we have Frozen and Tranquil, but these don't really matter too much because we're gonna go ahead and get 5 mutations on it so we can get this thing to rainbow. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply Shock to it. We're going to apply Pollinated to it, and we're going to apply Chocolate to it. And there we go. Now we have 5 mutations. And with that, we can go ahead and pick up all of these mooncats that we have. And we can go ahead and spawn in a queen bee and a butterfly. In about 15 minutes, our queen bee will cool down and then refresh our butterfly's ability to convert all 5 of these mutations to rainbow. And while we wait for that to happen on my main account, we're going to put down a kitsune and a queen bee as well over there. As soon as we have this thing turned to rainbow, my main account's kitsune pet will come over here and steal it, but then it'll apply chakra to our huge Hinnomi plant. So we just gotta wait around for about 15 to 20 minutes now, let all these pets do their thing, and then we can start stacking up on actual mutations, and it should be a good time. All right, so it's finally time for our queen bee to be done with her cooldown and to recharge our butterfly so we can get this Hinnomi to turn into a rainbow Hinnomi. Let's see it. All right, queen bee refreshed the butterfly. The butterfly is now going in, and all 5 of our mutations are now being converted to rainbow, and boom, there we go. So now we have a rainbow Hinnomi plant. We're gonna go ahead and pick up our queen bee and our butterfly, and what we're gonna go ahead and do first is apply our sprays back onto this. Oh. Or is there something happening? Am I about to get some cool admin mutations finally? Well, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and apply my cloud touch onto here. We're gonna apply chocolate. We're gonna apply shock. We're gonna apply pollinated. And oh, and there's my kitsune from my main account applying its mutation. There we go. Hinnomi is now chakra as well. So we have rainbow, shock, chocolate, chakra, pollinated, and cloud touch. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and use one of our honey sprinklers here to get honey glaze applied to it, and that should have taken care of that. There we go. Perfect. Dad? Okay, well, we might actually get some good mutations today because they're doing an admin abuse event in here. I don't know who's controlling it at the moment, but this is the stuff Brighter used to do for us. So yeah, maybe we can get Galactic on here. But this is perfect timing, so we can get some extra mutations. All right, well, we got to work on all of our pet mutations while all these events go crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that as well on the side here. So I'm going to use a disco bee or 2 so we can get disco, even though we may or may not need these depending on what events they spam in today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 cooked owls as well so we can get cooked or burnt. I guess we'll see what other events they start as well. I'm also going to spawn in one of my Tranquil Scarlet so we can get Tranquil done before the next Zen Aura event. And we can also get a chance for Verdant. Oh, what is this? Oh, the Infected event. Maybe we can get the Infected mutation as well. Come on, big boy. We're going to go ahead and add in a chicken zombie for Zombified while we also have the zombies here. Can I, like, lick this plant to give it infected, please? Thank you. All right, and then finally we're going to spawn in a kappa, because this guy will give us the wet mutation onto our Hinnomi, and then once it's applied wet, it can turn that into bloodlet. And then we'll work with a few more pets after that going forward, but this should be a good start so we can get all of these mutations out of the way. Okay, well, now we also have a disco event going on, so if we get disco applied to our Hinnomi, then we can actually just get rid of our disco bees and put some more pets down. So yeah, this event spam is actually going to really help us out today, although we didn't get 2 of them already. Let's go ahead also and use one of our star crawlers and put it right next to this thing, because I don't really know if we'll get a celestial event, but because I had to move this from over here, we need a star crawler pretty close by so we can actually get that mutation applied. I'm also going to add some more tanning mirrors and we should be good. So now we should be good with all of our pets. Let's go ahead and wait, see what happens, see what our pets apply, and hopefully we can get all of our pet mutations done pretty quickly. We have Jandel Heavenly event, so maybe we'll get Heavenly. That would be a nice mutation to have on here. All right, let's see if Kappa adds wet mutation to our Hinnomi. Let's see. Yep, there we go. It's now watered with the wet mutation, and then it should try to reapply shortly, so we can hopefully get that wet to turn into bloodlet. Oh, black hole. Possible void touch. We're getting so many of the good events, but we're not getting any of the mutations to actually apply. Hey, let's go. We got burnt added on. Thank you, cooked owls. All right, cooked owls are good. We can go ahead and get rid of these 2 guys here, and then we can actually spawn in another kappa here, so we can attempt to get our wet turned into bloodlet. And then I guess we can spawn in another chicken zombie. Well, I forgot that the tanukis can apply chilled, and of course they just did and made our wet turn into frozen. We were trying to wait for that wet to turn into bloodlet from our kappas, and this guy, he just made it chilled, dude. I didn't want chilled yet. I need to remember that he can do chilled for next time, so I don't spawn him in until we get this thing at least bloodlet. I guess what we'll go ahead and do then is spawn in another tanuki, just so we can get to this thing to get the moonlit mutation. And I guess we'll also go ahead and spawn in our first pterodactyl so we can get this thing to get windstruck on it. Now, the thing about the pterodactyl is if we don't get twisted with the windstruck, we still have to wait for a twisted event so we can get this thing to tempestuous. But hopefully our pterodactyl comes in clutch and applies twisted with that windstruck so we get both of them done. All right, so I have a few medium pet toys here we're going to use to give some of our pets a boost, including our pterodactyl, so we can try and get tempestuous when he does the windstruck. I'm also going to give this to our tanuki so we can hopefully get that moonlit mutation done and out of the way. Here's one other guy. He's up here. There we go. They're both boosted. And I guess we'll give it to our scarlet. Oh, there he is. All right, there we go. Cappy has a toy as well. All right, so there we go. Okay, try to apply Tranquil but failed. Oh, I didn't know it was not 100% chance. I thought it could always apply Tranquil. All right, pterodactyl, please apply both windstruck and twisted. We need to get both out of the way, so I'd be very happy if you could do both for us. That'd be really nice of you. Let's see. Oh, let's go. Pterodactyl applied a mutation, windstruck, and twisted. I just had to ask nicely, and pterodactyl's got our back. So now we have tempestuous added onto here, which means our Hinnomi has 10 mutations so far. We would have 11 if we saw that amber spray. Anyways, we can go ahead and pick up our pterodactyl now that his work is done. Sorry, I'm very gassy. And then we can go ahead and apply another scarlet, I guess. That way we can try to get verdant a little bit faster. Ooh, perfect. We got a sandstorm. Let's see if we can actually get sandy today. This is always a tough one. I really wish I could move this plant over here because this is like the lucky corner over here, but I literally cannot travel this thing and I don't know why. All right, did we get anything? No, not at all. We did not get any sandy. I don't know why our luck is always so bad with sandy. Oh, it's the top of the hour. We're going to get Tranquil. We're at least going to get another mutation added onto this. Look at this. Watch this. Look at that. It's beautiful. We got Tranquil on our plan. All right, well, that's another mutation out of the way. But we're going to go ahead and give some toys to the disco bees again. Hopefully that will make them disco and give us disco. One of our disco bees are discoing. Oh, there we go. Disco is applied to the Hinnomi. The other one's discoing, but it's too late. It's already done. All right, so we can go ahead and get these guys out of the way. They'll keep their buffs for later. And let's go ahead and... are you Nico? Here, take this. That's a little buff for you. And there you go. That buff helped. We now have Verdant on our Hinnomi. We have Tranquil and Verdant now, so we can get rid of both of these Scarlets. Get those guys out of the way. We also have Disco. We got those guys out of the way. I guess we can go ahead and apply some more chicken zombies in here so we can get zombified done. And then I will also put a Mimic Octopus because either this guy will mimic the chicken zombies and give us zombified faster, or he'll mimic our Tanukis and maybe give us Moonlit. We're going to wait around for a little bit longer, see if any other events happen, see what happens with our pets, if they give us the mutations we need, and I guess we'll be back shortly. Oh, so it looks like we just got a heat wave to spawn in, so now we have Paradisal on our Hinnomi, and yeah, so that's good. I wish Paradisal would stack Sun-Dried as well, like it used to. Now once you have Paradisal, it doesn't stack Sun-Dried onto your plant. I really wish it did, so that way we don't have to worry about getting another heat wave in case we get sandy and then we turn that into clay and ceramic. All right, so we just had one of our chicken zombies apply the zombified mutation to our Hinnomi, so now that is added on and we are up to 14 mutations in total. So with that, we can go ahead and favorite this just so we don't pick it up. And let's go ahead and pick up all of our chicken zombies here. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and spawn in both of my raptors so they can start leveling up a little bit. That way we can get their chances increased of getting the amber mutation when we pick up fruits, because they're only at like a 2% chance right now. I guess we'll too spawn in our queen bees just to help with cooldowns for these little manukis here, and that should hopefully speed up the process so we can get this thing moonlit. Okay, so after like literally hours, it's been at least 2.5+ hours, our Tanukis finally got us moonlit applied, and I wish we had bloodlit. We could have gotten bloodlit if we had the wet mutation mixed with the kappa. But anyways, overall though, so far we have 15 mutations on our Hinnomi. Now we would have 16 if we had the amber spray, which we ran out of. So we do have these raptors that I've just left out to level up, which their chances haven't really increased much. I mean, it's almost a 3% chance now to give us amber mutation on this. Now I am going to wait just a little bit longer to see if we get a shooting star celestial event, because there should be a moon event in about 5 minutes. And looking at my Discord server, we have a grow a garden bot set up for events and seeds, which if you want to join the Discord server, discord.com/invite/bandites, or just click the link in the description. But we have a chat in there, and I actually noticed that every 4 hours is a moon night event, and usually those can follow with a meteor shower. So we're gonna go ahead and wait and just see if that plays out so we can maybe get celestial added onto this. All right, well, we had a nighttime event spawn in, but there was no celestial event afterwards. So I guess excuse me, in terms of legit mutations that we're missing is pretty much sandy, and we could have got that turned into ceramic. We're also missing amber, which we don't have any more sprays, but we're going to try to get that now with these guys when I pick it up. And we're also missing aurora. We had quite a bit of admin events get spammed earlier, but we didn't get any of those besides disco, but that was only from our disco bees. We're about to pick up our Hinnomi, and we're going to see if we get amber from our raptors here. If we don't, we have 15 mutations on it, and if we do, we'll have 16 mutations, which means we would have had a second row. All right, but without further ado, we're going to try to pick it up. Let's see if these guys will channel that 4.6% for us and see if we get amber. Let's check it. And I don't think that's amber, because if you look at something like this, the amber, you can definitely tell it's more of a yellowy tint. Overall, this still is really big. We have quite a few mutations on it, and I think this should still give us some good money. Steven, what is the value of our big old Hinnomi plant? All right, let's check. Anything to sell? How much is this worth? 93 billion, which I believe our maple apple was still worth more than this, but this is a huge plant, and we did get quite a few mutations on this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and spawn in some mooncats here. So we got 8 mooncats that we can spawn in, so we can start getting progress on getting a big, beautiful maple apple tree. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and place all of our sprinklers down here. So we're gonna get a master, godly, advanced, and basic, and then we're gonna put our maple apple right in there. And look at that, it's all rainbowy up here, so it looks like we might have a pretty big tree. To save some time, we're gonna go ahead and hit that grow all button on my main account. And oh, look at this, we got a sandstorm, so we might as well hurry up and do this. All right, we're in, and there we go. We have some maple apples. Now, these don't look very big. This one looks decent, but some of these don't look as big as I thought we might be able to get this. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up these, and I guess we'll give it a look and see how they regrow. But I'm going to go ahead and put some more sprinklers down, and we're going to try to get this thing to grow a little bit better. We want these mooncats to hopefully affect this as much as possible. We want to get a big maple apple. Now, we do have a pretty decent sized one here, but I think we could do better than that. I think we could definitely get a bigger one to show up. All right, we have a lot of mooncats right here. I think what I'll do is I'll trowel this into the sleeping mooncats if they all pile in a certain area. Let me move that into that circle. All right, yeah, they're kind of all piling around in different spots. They're not like just in one area. Okay, let me try right here in between these two, or actually maybe even right here because there's a few of them right here. All right, and hopefully that helps. All right, I'm gonna hit the grow all button again just to see if anything changes, see if we get any big ones. So let's just YOLO it. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's better. That's definitely better. That's this one is pretty big. All right, so we can go ahead and pick up these other ones then. Yeah, look at this. We thought this was gonna be decent. I think this one's a lot better. Dude, what is going on? We're getting all these events, but we're not ready yet. We still got to get this thing rainbow. All right, we're gonna pick up all of our mooncats. We're gonna try and go through this quick. So let's go ahead and get our sprays done. Actually, let's go ahead and get that queen bee ready to get the cooldowns ready. Let's get the butterfly ready to get that cooldown ready, and then let's get these sprays done on our maple apple. So we're gonna go ahead and put pollinated on this. We're gonna put chocolate on that. We're gonna put a cloud touched, shocked, and then we will do honey glazed with the honey sprinkler. And there we go. That will be our 5 mutations. All right, so I was stupid and accidentally picked up my queen bee, so I've been sitting here waiting for my butterfly. But to speed this up, I guess, a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and give my butterfly this toy, which will speed up the cooldown, and now our butterfly will give us rainbow. So it's like the same thing, but yeah, you won't notice any difference here, but yeah, I had to wait a little bit longer because I'm stupid and dumb. All right, so just like that, our maple apple is now rainbow. So we can go ahead and pick up that butterfly. We're good. We have this mutation done. All right, so now we can go ahead and apply our sprays to this thing again. So we're going to put our chocolate back on it, pollinated, shocked, cloud touch. We're going to go ahead and put our honey sprinkler back down to get honey glaze back onto it. And then on our main account, we're going to apply amber onto it. I did that from over there. I got snipes, I guess. But now amber's back onto it. Now, my main account has some chilled sprays we're going to use, but we're going to wait on that because we're going to try to get this thing to get ceramic first. So to do that, we need wet and then sandy to get clay, and then we'll need to get sun-dried to turn that into ceramic. So we're going to wait a little bit, and we're going to not apply the chill just yet. We're going to do frozen after we get ceramic. So now we're going to start focusing on the rest and applying some more with our pets. So I have some disco bees here. Now, I know people are going to be like, Bandites, you can just use the new disco spray. Well, there's no spray merchant, and I don't have the disco spray, okay? So I'm going to be using disco bees to hopefully get us disco mutation on our maple apple. And then I'm going to be using the cooked owls, same thing here, to hopefully get burnt or cooked since I don't have those sprays as well. We're going to go ahead and use some chicken zombies, and then we're going to spawn in 1 scarlet. Actually, we're going to hold off on the scarlet for now and not get verdant on this just yet because we're going to try to get ceramic first, and if we have verdant, that sun-dried will just convert to paradisal. So we're going to wait on this guy, but we are going to spawn in 2 sea turtles so we can get this maple apple the wet mutation, and after we get the wet mutation, that should help us get this turned to clay, and then yeah, we could go through that getting ceramic. Our luck today is a little bit better than it's been the last few videos. We have another aurora happening, so hopefully we can get the aurora mutation on our maple apple. Oh, look at that. Just like that, the sea turtle already applied wet to our maple apple, so that's quick and easy. We can go ahead and pick up these guys then, and I guess we'll spawn in another disco bee and another, I guess we'll do another chicken zombie for the time being. Oh, I just saw something happen. Did we get it? Oh, let's go. We got aurora. All right, this is actually going a lot better today than it has been. I think the update of increasing the events really helped. So we are up to 9 mutations on our maple apple, including aurora, which is awesome. We're going to wait for these pet mutations to hopefully take effect. We got our disco bees and our cooked owls that will be applying some mutations soon. All right, our disco bees always seem to be the first pet to apply their mutations, but anyways, let me go ahead and unfavorite this real quick. But as you can see, we now have the disco mutation on our maple apple. So it's starting to look pretty good. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is pick up these disco bees carefully without picking anything else up, as I've done in the past, as we all know now. And I'm going to go ahead and spawn in another cooked owl or 2. Let's see. I guess I'll do another cooked owl. And I will spawn in another chicken zombie. So hopefully we can get these 2 mutations done. And then we just really got to get verdant after that, but we're going to wait for verdant just for a little bit. We want to wait until we get this thing, hopefully ceramic first, and then we'll focus on paradisal. All right, so we have some of our cooked owls here that are about to finish their cooldowns, which is good. And with that, we also have a Zen event about to start. Oh, well, they're targeting the big one, but they're failing. What about the other one? Targeted the big one, but fail. Okay, that's very sad. Our chicken zombies are almost cooled down as well. At least 2 of them are almost done. And then we have another one that'll be done in a few minutes. And we're gonna see the Zen Aura event happen in a second, which will help us get Tranquil on our maple apple here, which will be another mutation added on. All right, so we got our first little Tranquil beam coming over here. Let's see which one it hits first. All right, there we go. Our big one is mutated to Tranquil. So that's a really easy one to get, and that's just some extra multiplier for us to work with. Oh, let's go. Thank you, cooked owls. You guys, I love you so much. You're so nice to me today. All right, well, there we go. Now we have burnt on our big maple apple here. So we're stacking up some good mutations. I'm going to go ahead and pick up these cooked owls now then. Get these guys out of the way. We have another chicken zombie almost ready. So hopefully he does what the cooked owls did in target. I'm going to spawn in another chicken zombie, and we'll spawn in a mimic octopus to mimic those guys to give us even more opportunities. All right, we have a windy event, which I was hoping for, and I'm going to go ahead and travel our plant, I guess, over here, because for some reason, these corners over here always help get wind struck on our plants faster. Okay, the event ended. Let's see if we got any windstruck added. Oh, we did. Dude, I don't know why this corner is blessed right here. If you need windstruck, move your plants like right here. It seems to always work to get us windstruck. All right. I forgot that they re-added frost into the game, which if we get chilled, which because our plant is already wet, we might get it frozen, which we don't want right now, which is going to be very unfortunate. We have wet, and I probably should have waited. I completely forgot that they re-added frost. The only reason I added wet was in case a sandstorm came by, we could have gotten sandy, which would have made this turn instantly to clay. But I didn't count the fact that if a frost storm comes by, we can get frozen. We don't want frozen yet because once we get frozen, we pretty much, I don't think, can get ceramic. Actually, you know what? We probably can. I think if we get sandy, we could apply wet again. So this actually isn't the end of the world. It would just get us frozen earlier, which we didn't really want yet. All right, well, yeah, we now have frozen on our maple apple. Honestly, that is fine. We'll just keep frozen on there. Either way, we can still get ceramic, I believe. We just have to wait for a sandstorm now, and once this is sandy, we can add wet to it to get clay. Okay, it looks like one of our chicken zombies just applied zombified to our maple apple. Yep, there it is. We are good, which means we pretty much have every pet mutation done. We still gotta wait for twisted, which is technically a pet mutation now, I guess. But that will get this thing to tempestuous. And then once we have that, we also need to get verdant, which is also a spray or a pet mutation. All right, so I have literally been in a Discord call with one of my friends for like 6 hours talking, waiting for more mutations to get applied. We did end up getting moonlit to this, but we had a sandstorm twice and did not get sandy. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just apply scarlet to this maple apple so we can get verdant on it. So I'm going to spawn in 3 scarlets and a mimic octopus just so we can make sure we get that verdant mutation, and that will turn sun-dried into paradisal. So there we go. We have all these pets set, and some of them actually have some of our buffs still added onto them. And while they focus on getting that sun-dried to turn into paradisal, over here on my main account, shout out to my friend Cole or Azook. He actually is letting me borrow his kitsune for this video so I can try to get chakra and foxfire chakra on my maple apple. And if I can get those two, that should be some extra good mutation buffs. So I have a queen bee spawned in my main account garden in there, and I'm going to go ahead and use that queen bee with the kitsune to see if I can get both foxfire and regular chakra on my plant. So apparently the kitsune actually applies it to your plant, and then it steals it and gives it to your other account. So I should be able to get 2 of these maple apples with all these mutations on it, and it should be pretty good overall. Okay, well, it looks like we're about to finally wrap things up here, and we finally got Sandy applied to our maple apple after literally hours and multiple sandstorm events. So we technically could get this up to ceramic now, but I don't know if I really want to wait around for another heat wave event to happen, because I have been at this for like 8 hours today trying to get this one to be good for you guys. So I think we're just going to keep Sandy. That way we have that mutation on there, and then if we can get Foxfire Chakra and regular Chakra, that should make up for that ceramic mutation, and at least we still have Sandy on it. All right, my main account's Kitsune is coming over here to attack our maple apple. Okay, and it says Kitsune applied chakra, so it looks like my main account is getting one of these, and let's just go ahead and check. Yeah, there we go. Now we have chakra on this. We did not get Foxfire Chakra, but we do have the regular chakra on this, and in total we do have 18 mutations on our maple apple. We could turn this Sandy into ceramic. We could have turned this Windstruck into tempestuous, and we could also get Foxfire Chakra and Celestial. So there's a few things that we could have combined for better mutation chances, and it would have really helped us in the end to get a little bit more money value out of this. But overall, I think this is a pretty good maple apple, and I'm very happy with it with how many mutations we actually got today. Let's go ahead though and pick up our maple apple and check the value. All right, so here it is. Here's our big maple apple with all of these mutations on it. It looks insane with all the electricity and everything on it. I'm gonna go ahead and favorite it as well, just so I don't accidentally ever sell it. And we're gonna check with Steven. So Steven, what is the value of our maple apple with all 18 of these mutations on it? This maple apple is worth 197 billion, and I can only imagine that this would have been past 400 billion or so if we were actually got Celestial, Foxfire Chakra, and a couple of those other mutations mixed together. With those admin mutations, I think this would have been very, very good. But for that many mutations on it, that is still pretty good. I do wish our maple apple was a little bit bigger, but overall, I'm very happy with that price. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, if you think that this is worth the value or if it should be worth more. All right, so we're going to start out, of course, with all of our moon cats like we normally do. All right, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is stack some sprinklers like right here. We're gonna do all of our sprinklers, master, godly, basic, and advanced, of course. But then we're gonna go ahead and place our mushrooms close to this group of sprinklers to hopefully have the effects be applied to them. There's not a lot of room to work with here, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, all of our moon cats are sleeping, but they're like not in range of our mushroom. Oh wow, they're like all over here. I guess what I'll do is I'll quickly try and place them in this group of mooncats to see if that will take effect on any of them, and then I'm gonna go ahead and place some more sprinklers right in this stash here. All right, now it's just a waiting game to see which mushrooms become the biggest out of all these, and then I guess we'll pick our mushroom. I don't really know how big the mushrooms can get. I don't think they can get as big as some other fruits in this game, but we're gonna go ahead and wait this out and see which one becomes the biggest, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of compare some mushrooms here to get the top weighted one. I don't know if it matters if the mushroom is bigger like this. I'm not sure which one will actually affect the weight. So I guess what I'm going to go ahead and do is there's this taller one right here, and I'm going to compare it to one of these ones that have a bigger base to it. So I guess this like orange one in here will be a good choice. All right, let's see. Can I grab this one specifically? Yep. All right, we got that one. And then I'm going to compare it to one of these because this one's a pretty wide one. So I'm going to pick up these smaller ones carefully. All right, I'm going to pick up this one, and then that will be a good comparison here. All right, so this one's 33 compared to this one that's a little bit taller. It's 30. So yeah, it looks like the width matters more for the price. And this one I think is our widest one, so I think we're gonna go with this one. It's not as big as I was hoping, but it's the biggest one I think in weight that we got. So this one will be our mushroom that we try to get every mutation on today. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply our 5 mutations on this thing so we can go ahead and get it to rainbow. And actually right before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get our queen bee ready and our butterfly ready, just so their cooldowns can start. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add shock to this. I'm gonna add pollinated. I'm going to add chocolate. We'll use a honey sprinkler. We're gonna add a cloud touch mutation onto this just so we have that 5th mutation. And just like that, it should update. We are good. We now have 5 mutations on our mushroom. And once this queen bee cools down, it will cool down our butterfly. And then this mushroom will turn into a rainbow mushroom. Okay, so this may or may not be good timing. We have about 1 minute left for our queen bee to cool down our butterfly and get this thing rainbow. And within that, we do have a heat wave event. So I'm hoping that this heat wave stays so we can get this thing rainbow. We can instantly get sun-dried applied to it. Because as you see, we just got sun-dried, but we got to get rainbow before we're supposed to get sun-dried. So I need this queen bee to hurry up so we can get sun-dried done and out of the way, like right now. I'm going to go ahead and also make sure I have some more tanning mirrors right next to this thing. All right, there we go. The butterfly is now cooled down from the queen bee and it's about to apply rainbow, and hopefully this event does not end in like 2 seconds. All right, there we go. Our mushroom should now be rainbow, which it is, and now we just got to get a heat wave to hit one of these tanning mirrors so we can make sure that this thing gets sun-dried back. Please. There we go, and perfect. We made it. We made it. We got sun-dried applied back onto our rainbow mushroom. We're good. We have 2 of those mutations done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick up our queen bee and our butterfly. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is reapply the chocolate mutation onto here with shocked, pollinated, and a honey sprinkler to get us honey glaze, just like we did at the start. All right, there we go. And then on our main account, we're going to apply the amber mutation and also the cloud touch mutation. Now, I do have the chilled spray right here, but we're not going to do chilled just yet because we're going to try and work on ceramic first. So in the meantime, I'm going to have my main account leave, and hopefully we can get this thing to ceramic before we have our main account rejoin. Otherwise, we'll just go straight for frozen. All right, but just like that, our mushroom is looking pretty good. We are up to 8 mutations on it, and to go ahead and add to the fun of this, we're going to go ahead and start spawning in all of our pets. So we're going to get our disco beast to get that disco mutation applied. We're going to use our chicken zombies to get that zombified mutation applied. 2 cooked owls to get either cooked or burnt applied. And then we're going to do 1 scarlet, but we're also going to do 1 mimic octopus, just so that way we can hopefully get a 100% chance to get one of these other mutations. Oh, you know what? Actually, before I use this bird to get verdant and then turn sun-dried into paradisal, I want this sun-dried to go to ceramic before it goes to paradisal. So I'm going to actually go ahead and pick up our scarlet for now. And I am going to go ahead and use our sea turtle because thinking about it, I do need to get wet on this anyways in order to get this thing clay. So I'm going to see if this event gives us wet or if our sea turtle gives us wet. And as long as we get one of the 2, I think we're good. And then we just got to wait for a sandstorm to pass through. All right. Usually the disco bees come in clutch. Let's see if that's true for today. 1 disco bee is going off. Zephy, let's go, dude. The disco bees, they just know their game, man. Look at that. We already got disco applied to the mushroom. All right. So I'm going to go ahead then and pick up this other disco bee. And I guess in the meantime, we'll just get some more sea turtles just to get this thing wet quickly because we really want to get that clay done and then this thing can turn to ceramic. Okay, our sea turtle just applied wet to the mushroom, which is perfect timing because I got to pick these guys up quick because our mimic octopus is about to mimic one of our other pets. So now we can either get cooked or burnt, or we'll be able to get zombified pretty much instantly with the mimic octopus. So let's see which one he decides to mimic. Okay, he's doing something. Let's see it. Okay, well, I thought the mimic octopus was a 100%, but he literally just failed. So I guess the mimic octopus is not a 100%. It can still fail, and I guess it just picks up on the rates of what your other pet's chances are. So I guess that makes sense. I think if it was a 100% success rate every time, it would be a little broken. All right, cooked owl applied burnt to mushroom. We now have burnt on our mushroom. Thank you, cooked owl. I wonder if one day we'll actually get the cooked mutation instead of burnt. It seems to be very, very rare. Oh, and chicken zombie applied zombified. So you know what? For once in my life, maybe I won't be so sad. And besides that, we could get verdant, but we're just going to wait that one out until we can get that sun-dry to turn into ceramic. I don't want to mess with that. I want to try to get ceramic first this time because that's the one we'd be struggling on. All right, so we have a windy event going on, so we can hopefully get this mushroom windstruck added onto it since our dino eggs are still needing a lifetime to open. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to try to travel this mushroom to the front of my garden here because for some reason, and other people noticed this too, I saw in the comments, that whenever you move the mushroom to the front of the garden, for some reason, you usually get windstruck a lot easier when it's up here. Now, maybe we're all just tripping, but I don't know. It seems to work for me in the past, and it seems like it works for other people. So hopefully this helps. Yeah, that didn't do anything. All right, we have another windy event coming through, so we're blessed again. Hopefully we can get windstruck done. This one should be easy, but for some reason it always is very hit or miss for us. Okay, the event just ended. Let's see. Okay, we got Windstruck. Let's go, dude. Maybe this corner is the blessed corner, but Windstruck is added. Now we just gotta hope that we get a sandstorm soon and a tornado twisted event. All right, so I have been AFKing on and off, and it's been like 3 hours. And of course, when I went AFK this last time, there was a tornado, there was a moon event, and there was another heat wave. So I think the game just doesn't like me, and it thought that I left for good. So then it started doing stuff. Looking back at the clips, the tornado literally was like on our mushroom, but it did not convert our Windstruck. It did not give us twisted because our Windstruck did not mix and convert to the tempestuous. Oh, but hold on. Wait a minute, this is perfect timing. We just got another tornado event to start. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and get our mushroom here to get twisted on it so we can get that to mix in and give us that mutation. However, AFKing though, we have not gotten one sandstorm, and it's been like hours and hours and hours of doing this. Oh, there's 2 tornadoes on this. Hold on. But the fact that there hasn't been a sandstorm within like the 3 or 4 hours I've been recording this video, I don't know if it's going to be possible today to get ceramic. We just need sandy in order to... We have everything else. We're ready. Oh, and there we go. We did just get tempestuous. So we just mixed twisted and windy, and now we have that. That's a good extra multiplier. Yeah, I guess we'll wait around for like another 30 minutes. But if we don't get sandy, I think I'm going to go ahead and just convert that sun-dried to paradisal and convert that wet to frozen. All right, so I have still been waiting hours on end, and we don't have friend bound, and we also have not gotten one sandstorm throughout the hours of us recording this video, which is very unfortunate. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward then with just turning the sand dried into paradisal and the wet into frozen and see what the value is after this. I wanted to at least get ceramic and celestial on this as well, but we're almost there. And we haven't gotten either events in hours and hours of waiting. So I guess what we're going to go ahead and do is spawn in our Scarlets here. And just in case, we'll spawn in our Mimic Octopus just to help them out if they don't make any progress. And I'm going to go ahead and give them all a pet toy to hopefully boost their chances. I'm just going to go ahead and apply the chilled spray to our mushroom. So now our mushroom is officially frozen instead of wet. All right, and just like that, our Scarlet applied Verdant to our mushroom, which gives us Paradisal as it combined with the sun-dried mutation. All right, I'm gonna pick all of these guys up, and we are now at 14 mutations on this thing. Now, if you expand some of the ones that combined, we'd be at 16 mutations. Now, I only really needed to get Ceramic on this, and then maybe Celestial and Aurora. So we're pretty much missing 3 legit mutations, but we're almost there. But within hours of sitting here, I didn't get any of those events, which is crazy. Now, of course, this doesn't include all the admin ones, but I think the creator program is supposed to resume very soon, so we can start getting those in these videos again. It's time to check with Steven the price of our mushroom. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. And Steven, what is our mushroom valued at? All right, so our mushroom is worth 5 billion. I think this could have definitely been a lot more if the size of this thing was bigger. I don't really know the max size you can get of a mushroom. I know I've seen some very, very tall ones before, some very big ones, but for this one only being, I don't even know, probably around 30 to 40 kilograms, that's pretty good. I mean, 5 bill is pretty good with all these mutations. There's definitely other plants that would have gotten you more. All right, first things first is we're going to spawn in 7 of our Mooncats here. All right, and then next up, we're going to spawn in one of our Triceratopses. This guy is an age 9 compared to my other 2 that are age 8, so he's a little bit ahead of the other 2, so I'm going to go ahead and spawn him in. And then we're going to go ahead and place our sprinklers here. So I'm going to go ahead and place our Grandmaster Sprinkler, a Master Sprinkler, Godly, Advanced, and Basic, and then I'm going to go ahead and slap down a Sugar Glaze Seed right in that mix. And this should help it get pretty big, plus all of our Mooncats. Now, what we can also do is drag this thing over into a bunch of Mooncats to hopefully get the original Sugar Glaze to be pretty big. So let me see, can I move this? All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. And we're just going to let these Mooncats mix in their abilities onto it. All right, that looks pretty good. And then I guess, you know what, since this is growing pretty quick, I can use some more watering cans on it. And then once our Triceratops here is done with this cooldown, I can just go ahead and smack this sugar glaze, and we can get the first set of donuts done and see how big they turn out. Let's try to travel this right in between these guys. We need to get as big of a sugar glaze as we possibly can. Look, the cat's actually sleeping in the tree. What? All right, I'll put it in this one just to get more bonus points possibly from our mooncats, and then we're going to put it right back in our sprinklers here. All right, then finally, a couple more watering cans, and this thing should be done growing. I wish I could drag the mooncats over here. I know a lot of people were telling me to get the pancakes so I can have them all focus on a section. I actually did not get the pancake unlocked. I just had the pancake mole. But yeah, that'll be one of the things I focus on unlocking next, so we can always have our mooncats target one area for our plants. All right, our Triceratops is... Oh my... All right, well, it looks like we got a pretty big donut growing in. It looks like everyone's doing their job. Let's see what the Triceratops does to help. All right, kaboom. That was it. That was 33 minutes of growth. All right, so our sugar glaze is done growing. Why is it green? I thought it was going to be like a chocolate one, but I guess we got someone's like boogers. All right, well, we're good here with our Triceratopses, so we're going to go ahead and use some sprays here so we can get 5 mutations applied to our sugar glaze and then get a butterfly to turn that into rainbow for us. So we're going to go ahead and use one of these honey glaze sprays. We're going to use a pollinated, a chocolate, a shocked, and then we're just going to use a wet just to get another one out of the way. And there we go. We have 5 mutations on our sugar glaze here. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and trowel this so it's facing this way. This is the one time a chocolate spray makes something look a little bit better, a little bit more appetizing. All right, but anyways, I'm going to favorite this real quick just so I don't accidentally pick that up. And then we're going to go ahead and spawn in 1 queen bee here and a butterfly. So that way our queen bee will cool down our butterfly and convert this thing to rainbow. I'll take all those 5 mutations and convert it to rainbow. And then over here, my main account, I'm going to spawn in a queen bee as well. And then we're going to spawn in my kitsune. So that way, by the time this butterfly over here converts this to rainbow, then our kitsune over here will be ready, and then we can apply chakra or foxfire chakra to our sugar glaze. But for now, I do need to unfavorite this so the butterfly can actually convert these mutations, and we gotta wait about like 17 more minutes. Yeah, so I'll be right back. All right, so our queen bee's about done with her cooldown, and she's about to cool down our butterfly, and hopefully our butterfly can take these and apply rainbow quick, because for some reason my queen bee's timer on my main account bugged, and it is now lined up with this account. So it's about to cool down our kitsune over here as soon as this happens. So queen bee, cool down butterfly. Butterfly is now cooled down. Let's get rainbow quick before the kitsune comes. Come on, hurry up. Hurry up. All right, we're good. We got it just in time. Our sugar glaze is now rainbow. The kitsune is stealing it. And now we have rainbow and chakra done. All right, I'm going to get out of his way. It's very bright and in my eyes. I can't see anything. All right, so since this is good, we're going to go ahead and favorite this just so we don't touch it. And we're going to go and pick up our queen bee and our butterfly. And then let's go ahead and apply some sprays to this thing. So we're going to reapply that shocked onto there. We're going to apply pollinated. We're going to apply fried, honey glazed, burnt, and chocolate. And then over here on my main account, we're going to apply cloud touch, we're going to apply verdant, and we're also going to apply wet, so that way our kappas have an easier time to apply bloodlet to our big sugar glaze here. All right, so that brings us up to 11 mutations on our sugar glaze, so it's looking pretty good here. So first thing I think I'm going to go ahead and do is plant a carrot seed, and we're going to put the shocked spray on our carrot seed here. All right, there we go. Our carrot is now shocked, so then I can go ahead and spawn in our Raiju, which will give us a mutation done right off the bat. It will eat this shocked carrot and apply static to our sugar glaze right away, so we can get that mutation done and out of the way. All right, I'm going to go ahead and spawn in 2 disco bees as well, so we can work on getting the disco mutation added. We're going to spawn in our Tranquil Scarlet and our Corrupted Scarlet. Even though we already have Verdant done, since they have Tranquil and Corrupt, we can get Tranquil and Corrupt mutations on our big sugar glaze here. All right, so that brings us to 5 pets here. Looks pretty good so far. I am going to go ahead and spawn in my chicken zombies next, just so we can get zombified done and out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and spawn in a kappa here, so our kappa can attempt to get this sugar glaze bloodlet. And that's good. We have all of our pets ready to go, and now we just have to wait for all of their cooldowns to go by. Okay, our Raiju just charged that carrot and ate it so fast I wasn't even ready for a second there, but he did apply the static mutation onto our sugar glaze here, so that is another mutation done and out of the way. All right, so what I think I'm gonna go ahead and do next is I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in this corrupted Kitsune so we can start working on getting corrupt chakra or corrupt foxfire chakra and add that on to our sugar glaze. All right, and then we're also gonna wait around here because our disco bees are about done with their cooldowns, and hopefully we'll get disco applied right away. Usually they're pretty good about getting us disco. Let's see it. All right, one's going off. All right, easy. That first disco bee there instantly gave us the disco mutation. So we're getting some good mutations done. All right, so since that is good and out of the way, let's see. I think I'm going to spawn in another Kappa to assist getting this thing to turn bloodlit. And then I guess, let me see what else I have in here. We don't really need our cooked owls today because we did get burnt on it already and fried. All right, I guess really the only other pet we need at the moment will be the pterodactyls. So I'm going to spawn one in here, and then I think what I'll do is whenever our pterodactyl here is about to be done with his cooldown, we're just going to grow a bunch of carrots back here like last second, so that way he can try to apply tempestuous to one of these. So in case he doesn't get tempestuous on the first try on our sugar glaze, all hope won't be lost. We can get it on a carrot and then just use a Spinosaurus to move it over. All right, let's go. One of our chicken zombies just applied the zombified mutation onto our sugar glaze, so that's another mutation done. We move these chicken zombies out of the way. They've done their job. All right, so next up is our pterodactyl. His cooldown is about done, so I'm going to quickly place a couple of these carrot seeds down just to see if we can stack up and maybe get tempestuous on one of these. All right, so let's see if our pterodactyl gives us tempestuous. It'd be nice if he could just give it to us directly on the sugar glaze, but if not, we'll use a Spinosaurus to move over mutations later onto this. All right, let's see it. He went all carrot mode. He didn't even go for the sugar glaze, but one of them did get tempestuous right here. So let me go ahead and favorite this real quick, and then I'm going to pick up the rest of these. All right, there we go. So tempestuous is on this carrot, which means our pterodactyl did do his job. So I'm going to go ahead and pick him up. He is good to go. And I guess we'll go ahead and unfavorite the carrot, and then we're going to put down a Spinosaurus. So this guy will be able to eat the carrot and then move it over to our sugar glaze. Okay, so I knew something felt like it was missing. Like I didn't do one of our pets that we normally do by now. And you know what? There is something missing, which is our spaghetti sloth. We got to get this guy to spawn in so he can give us sauce, pasta, and meatballs so we can get the spaghetti mutation added onto our sugar glaze. I don't know how good a spaghetti sugar glaze donut would taste, but our spaghetti sloth sure thinks it would be good. All right, so we have quite a bit of stuff about to happen. So first off, our Spinosaurus here is going to eat from our carrot, and hopefully it'll just move tempestuous over right away. Let's see. Let's see which mutation it eats. Okay, well, it ate wet, which we didn't need, so good thing we have our other Spinosaurus as backup for right now. So we're just gonna wait for that to happen. And then also, hopefully, our corrupt scarlet here will apply the corrupt mutation to our sugar glaze. But it is nighttime now, so we should be able to get moonlit, and hopefully after we'll get a celestial event so we can get celestial added to our sugar glaze. But anyways, there we go. That Spinosaurus has officially added tempestuous over to our sugar glaze, so we can go ahead and pick up our Spinosauruses for now, since we don't really need them to move anything else over. I'm gonna pick up that carrot, and then we just gotta wait for these guys to apply their mutations to our sugar glaze here. So let's see. Hopefully the corrupt scarlet does corrupt. Come on, please get it done. Failed. Okay, well, we're not going to get that one done yet, I guess. But we are going to get moonlit done. So there we go. We now have moonlit added to our sugar glaze here and tempestuous. So that's another 2 mutations done and out of the way. All right, corrupted Kitsune, please give us your mutation. Please. There we go. Corrupted Kitsune applied corrupt chakra to sugar glaze. So he is done and out of the way. And now we have harmonized chakra added onto this thing. All right, our spaghetti sloth is doing something. Let's see what mutation he adds to our sugar glaze first. He's pretty much a guaranteed pet to give us mutations. So let's see what the first one we get is. All right, we have sauce added to our sugar glaze now. So that is good to see. And once he applies his other 2, we'll have the full spaghetti mutation done. All right, our spaghetti sloth is heading over to hopefully apply the next mutation that we need. Hopefully it's not the same one. All right, there we go. So we got meatball added to sugar glaze. So now we have sauce and meatball on our sugar glaze here. As you can see, here's sauce, here's meatball. So once he adds pasta, those will all turn into spaghetti. Oh, wow. For the first time, I think, in one of these videos, we're actually getting an Aurora event. I mean, I guess we used to get events like this all the time, and I think we had the Aurora before when Brighter would do all the admin events. it's ending. Well, no Aurora mutation. I guess I'll trowel this back. Okay, well, I literally just got back from being AFK, and I just came back to the spaghetti slot applying pasta to our sugar glaze here. So let's go ahead and take a look if anything else happened. All right, so yeah, now we have spaghetti because we had all 3 of the spaghetti sloth mutations applied. It still looks like we did not get corrupt while I was AFK, so we still have to wait for corrupt to be applied, and we still have to wait for bloodlet to get applied. But our spaghetti sloth is at least done. All right, so finally we got another mutation done. Our Scarlet finally applied the corrupt mutation onto our sugar glaze. We can go ahead and pick him up, and now we have corrupt added onto here and Tranquil. So we have those 2 done. It's pretty much only up to our Kappas now to try and get bloodlet. I always spawn these guys in first, and then they literally struggle the entire time to convert wet to bloodlet. But hopefully they do that, and then once they get this thing bloodlet, or hopefully get it bloodlet, we'll then apply wet again and then convert wet over to frozen. All right, well, big rip. We've been waiting for our Kappas to give us bloodlet for like 2 or 3 hours now, and they haven't. And then we got a frost event, so this thing is frozen and we can't get bloodlet now. All right, well, we didn't get bloodlet today, but we did get frozen. I wanted to get frozen and bloodlet though, but you know, sometimes you can never win at these things. And then yeah, it's also been hours and we haven't had any other events happen. We have our raptor spawned in, so we're gonna try to pick up our sugar glaze and get amber applied. But in total, we do have 19 mutations, and if you spread some of these out like tempestuous, we would have 20. Spaghetti, we would have 22. And harmonized chakra would bring us to 24 mutations. So if we get amber, that'll be 25. Without further ado, let's go ahead and pick this thing up. Oh, look at that. We actually did get amber. So yeah, this thing technically has 20 mutations on it, or 25. It, for some reason, shrunk in size when I picked it up. Sometimes the big plants do that. The donut, maybe just for holding purposes, it did that. But hopefully it didn't actually break the size of it, and then it's going to break the value. I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. So thanks to our raptors for helping us out. All right, well, without further ado, I'm going to check the value of this thing with Steven. Hopefully it's still good. I don't know if the size actually went down or if it's just a visual bug like it used to be, but we're going to go ahead and check with Steven and see how much our sugar glazed donut is worth. So Steven, what would you give me for this thing today? Okay, yeah, I think the size stayed the same because this is worth 209 billion, which is actually really good for missing some of the mutations like paradisal and also ceramic. If we did get all of the admin mutations on this thing, I think it would have been close to 1 trillion or even passing 1 trillion, and we could have even gotten it bigger. But yeah, this is actually a pretty good price for the sugar glazed donut, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. So let's go ahead and get started and get prepared to grow our taco fern. So I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in 7 mooncats here. We're going to spawn in our triceratops, and then we're going to get our sprinklers ready. So we have a grandmaster sprinkler we're going to use. We're going to put that right there, and then we're going to stack on top of that a master, a godly, advanced, and basic, and then we're going to put the taco fern right inside of there. All of our cats are sleeping over here though. Hold on. All right, I'm going to put the taco fern right in here, just so we can get multiple mooncats to grow on it, which I think right here is about 3 of them. All right, that should be good. Let's go ahead and move that back in here by the sprinklers, and that should give us hopefully a pretty big taco fern. I almost just died by lightning. It almost just striked me. All right, so this thing's only at 1%. I guess we can buy some watering cans to get this process sped up a little bit. Oh, wow, that actually made it jump up. I don't know why the watering cans, like, unstuck the progress. So now it's at 39%. Let's spam our watering cans on it some more. Let's see what that gets it to. All right, we're up to 54, 55%. Pretty good. Let's see what the triceratops does. I don't know how big this thing's going to be. Oh, okay. Well, he just smacked it, and now it's at 99%. However, how do the tacos grow on this thing? All right. It's been smacked. I think that made good progress. I don't know. This still looks kind of small. All right. So our triceratops just again hit our taco fern, but this looks pretty small. I'm not gonna lie. So what I think I'm gonna do real quick is let me get my main account over here. I'm gonna hit grow all, get these picked up, and then I'm gonna try to get bigger ones because I don't think these are going to be big enough. So let me grow all real quick. Let me pick that up. Let's try this again. So I'm gonna do another grandmaster right here. We're gonna do another regular master, godly, advanced, and basic. I guess I'll trowel it real quick into these guys. Let their mooncat abilities make it hopefully get big. All right, then we're gonna move it back, and I'm just gonna wait a little bit and see what kind of size we get for the next one, and hopefully this next time around it's much bigger than that. This is not nearly as big as we can get this thing. I know it. So yeah, like, see, like, that's probably a little bit better, I think. All right, so this taco fern looks much better than this one. This one's like only like a 2-piece taco fern. This one has like multiple pieces, so I don't know if that really matters, but this one's still pretty big. So I think we're good here on the size. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up all these mooncats so they stop meowing in my ears, and then we're gonna go over to our sprays, and I'm gonna go ahead and use this windstruck because we have pterodactyls, so this will just be a free mutation to convert this thing to rainbow. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this windstruck on there. We're gonna apply this chocolate on there, shocked, and pollinated, and then we have honey sprinkler, so I'll just use one of these honey glaze sprays, and then that should bring us to 5 mutations. It's technically gold does not count towards getting rainbow, so we have our other 5 mutations that will count now. And then I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in our queen bee here to start her cooldown for our butterfly, and that way the queen bee has about 7 minutes less of a cooldown. She'll cool down, make our butterfly's cooldown go to 0, and then our butterfly will convert this taco fern to rainbow. And then in the meantime, over here on my main account, I'm also going to spawn a queen bee over there, and then also my kitsune pet. So that way the kitsune will steal this eventually, and then apply foxfire chakra or normal chakra, or even both. All right, well, anyways, I'll be right back. We're gonna wait till this thing gets rainbow. All right, our queen bee's cooldown is done. She is now giving her cooldown powers to the butterfly, and the butterfly is gonna take our mutations from this taco fern and convert it to rainbow, because rainbow is such a better multiplier than gold, so this will give us some more money in the end. All right, so we're good here. These pets are good. We don't need them right now. And now that this thing is rainbow, we can go ahead and reapply all those sprays. So we're going to go ahead and put our pollinated back onto there. We'll put our shocked back onto there. We also have a burnt spray, honey glazed. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. We have fried, and then we also have chocolate. So there we go. We have 9 mutations applied. We still have more. Hold on. So then over here, my main account, I'm going to apply the Cloud Touch spray, and then I'm also going to apply Verdant, and I'll also apply Wet. So now we already have all these mutations from just sprays, but the reason why we did Verdant is so we can get that converted to Paradisal as soon as there's a heat wave. So that'll save us some time. And then we also got Wet, so then we can use our Kappas to convert Wet into Bloodlet. So that'll save us some time there as well. Then next up, we have to just wait for our Kitsune to cool down, and then that will apply Chakra. So this brings us up to 10 mutations. Once the Kitsune comes over, we'll have 11. And now we can start working on some of our other mutations from our pets. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn in 2 Disco Bees so we can work on getting the Disco mutation applied. I'm going to spawn in the Corrupted Kitsune so we can get Corrupt Chakra or Corrupt Foxfire Chakra. We'll also go ahead and place down 2 Kappas so we can get this thing to turn Bloodlit. All right, and then I guess we'll go ahead and spawn in 2 chicken zombies to attempt to get zombified. And then so we can get one of our pets done and out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and spawn in my Raiju here. Or actually, before I spawn him in, I'm going to buy a carrot seed. I'm also going to favorite this just so I don't accidentally touch that. We're going to plant the carrot seed. We're going to spray the shocked spray onto it. And then we're going to spawn in my Raiju. And my Raiju will eat the shocked carrot and then apply static to our taco fern. This will be our pet lineup for now. All right, some of our pet cooldowns are done here. So our Raiju is going to eat that shocked carrot back there now. Look at him charge it. All right, and now he's going to apply static. We got our Disco Bee doing something, and we got Disco done. That is 3 pets we can move out of the way. So our Disco Bees are done here, and our Raiju is also done. And now we do have Disco and static applied to our taco fern, which is awesome. So I think I'm going to next get out my Spaghetti Sloth, because this guy is pretty much guaranteed 3 mutations to get Spaghetti. So I'm gonna go ahead and spawn him in so we can get that done and out of the way. I guess I'll go ahead and spawn in our Corrupted and Tranquil Scarlets, because we do need to get Corrupt and Tranquil on our taco fern. So I'm gonna spawn these guys in because they have those mutations on them, and they do have like 25-minute cooldowns. So I'm really hoping that we can get these ones done and out of the way. All right, our chicken zombie just applied zombified to our taco fern, so that is another pet done and out of the way. All right, so I guess the next pet we would spawn in is the Tanuki to try to get Moonlit, but I am wanting to try and get this thing Bloodlit first. The only thing is the Tanuki can't give us Moonlit, which is fine. However, the Kappas, they're trying to give us Bloodlit at the moment, which we need the Wet mutation for, and the Tanukis can possibly make this frozen, and if it's frozen, then we can no longer get Bloodlit. So we're gonna try and wait for the Kappas to do their thing, and I guess in the meantime, time, we will just go ahead and spawn in our pterodactyls here so we can try to get tempestuous done and out of the way. All right, I'm going to experiment and see if I give our corrupt kitsune a medium and small pet toy, if it will increase our chances of getting corrupt foxfire chakra. So let's go ahead and see. He's kind of moving. It's actually going to make the cooldown instant once I do the medium, but try to be quick. All right, see. Okay, I actually just did nothing, and it made his cooldown go, but the boost didn't help us even get the regular corrupt chakra. There we go. We got chakra applied to our taco fern. That looks kind of scary. All right, spaghetti sloth, what are you going to give us first? It doesn't really matter because he's going to give us everything over time anyways. He's got to crawl his way all the way to the taco fern. Come on, you can make it. All right, meatball is number 1. So now we just need to wait for him to give us sauce and pasta. I guess to increase our chances, by the way, I do have 13 gourmet eggs, so I am going to place these down so we can maybe get more spaghetti sloths. Oh, pterodactyl applied, windstruck, and first times the charm. We got tempestuous added to our taco fern, which is perfect. The rest of our pets here, we gotta wait for these kappas to give us bloodlet. Our spaghetti sloth is still being slow, of course, and then these guys need to give us corrupt and tranquil. All right, we have a sandstorm going on right now. I'm going to try and move our taco fern over here to the corner and see if maybe for the first time in our lives we can get sandy on one of these things, dude. It's been a struggle to ever get sandy. I don't know if the Grandmaster Sprinkler would help at all for trying to get the sandy mutation. I think that's, again, just for, like, rainbow and gold. And it looked like it got sandy for a second, but it didn't. I thought I saw an effect down here that looked like it would be sandy, but no. Our luck is terrible. I'm going to move this back over here and be sad now that we didn't get sandy. All right, so our sloth just applied pasta to our taco fern now. So now this thing has meatball and pasta. So now we just got to get him to apply sauce, and then we will have this thing turned to spaghetti. These kappas are still struggling. Our corrupted kitsune is still struggling, and we're also still waiting for Tranquil and corrupted to hopefully get applied from these 2 scarlets we have with those mutations on them. We're struggling a little bit on these mutations. I really hope that we can get some cool events to happen, like another sandstorm, so we can actually get sandy. Okay, well, with all of our efforts trying to get our taco fern return bloodlet from our kappas did not give us bloodlet. And then, of course, we get a frost weather event. So now we can't get bloodlet because we can't put wetback on it since this is already frozen. But I wish there was a better way to get bloodlet besides waiting for the event and this kappa. I guess we will spawn in then our tanukis to try and get us moonlit since our kappas failed us. All right, our spaghetti sloth just applied sauce to our taco fern, which means this thing is officially spaghettied. So now we have a spaghetti taco fern. So our spaghetti sloth has done his service. He is done here with his work today. We can go and pick him up. And now we just gotta wait for these tanukis to give us moonlit, and for this guy to give us corrupt, and for this guy to give us corrupt chakra. And hopefully while we wait for all this, we'll get some more events. There could possibly be a nighttime event in 3 minutes if it happens every 4 hours like it normally has. All right, I guess I got big brain power, and the only reason I know that night events happen every 4 hours is because there's a Grow Garden bot that tells you like when events and seeds and stuff are in the shop. So if you want to have access to that bot, you can join my Discord server, discord.com/invite/bandites, or just click the link in the description. That's much easier. And there's a Grow Garden channel, and you can get access to all the events and cool things. Anyways, that's how I know that usually night events happen every 4 hours, which now we have moonlit done, and we can get rid of these tanukis because they are good. They have done their job. Not really, they didn't do anything for us, but yeah. Anyways, we're gonna let our raptors level up a little bit here. I think I do have some treats for them. Yes, I do. So I'm gonna try to get these guys to level up a little bit faster, so that way we can have higher amber chances for them. All right, so I just got back after about an hour of AFKing. Let's see what has happened since we were gone. Let's go ahead and check our big taco fern here. So it looks like we did finally get corrupt added onto this thing after about an hour, so that's good. Did we get anything else to happen? It looks like we didn't get any sandy, any events. We just have moonlit. We didn't get celestial. We didn't get a heat wave. So wow, our luck was bad for events. And it also looks like we still have not gotten harmonized chakra. We still just have regular chakra. So our corrupted kitsune here is not doing very good for us, it looks like, but we can go ahead and pick up our other corrupt scarlet there. We can keep our mimic octopus and our corrupt kitsune. Okay, so our mimic octopus finally like mimicked our corrupt kitsune, even though our corrupt kitsune hasn't done anything for us. The mimic octopus actually clutched for us and got us that harmonized chakra done. So with that, we are done with all of our pet mutations. We are up to 19 mutations on our taco fern. However, if we do separate some of these, like tempestuous, we'd be up to 20. Spaghetti would be up to 22. And harmonized chakra would bring us up to 24. So we do have like 24 mutations on this. The only things we're missing is celestial, aurora, sandy, and a heat wave to actually get that verdant to become paradisal. And then I guess the other last thing that we're missing is amber. And those are pretty much all the legit mutations that we could get on this. And that wouldn't include any of the admin ones, of course, but those are the few of the legit ones that we're actually missing. But besides that, this thing is pretty much good. I think I'm going to try it to see what the value is of it, and we're going to use our raptors here to hopefully get amber. So hopefully this time we'll get amber applied so we can have an extra mutation done and added onto our taco fern. So without further ado, raptors, please help. All right, let's try this out. All right, we picked it up. Did we get amber on it? I can't tell. So yeah, I guess we didn't get amber. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just check the value of our taco fern here, and hopefully it's worth a lot. I mean, this thing I feel like could have been a little bit bigger, and maybe we could have got some of the other legit mutations and, you know, not including the admin ones to make this more. I feel like we might have gotten a pretty good one here, and it should be worth a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and check with our boy Steven here and see what this taco fern is worth. So Steven, what are we looking at today for the taco fern? Okay, so this thing is worth 46 billion. And again, it's not even that big of one. I definitely think we could have gotten a bigger one. It doesn't even look like a taco or anything at this point. All right, we're going to go ahead and start off with all of our moon cats like we normally do. Let's go ahead and get all 8 of these guys spawned in to start meowing and giving us big buff to Tranquil Bloom. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our sprinklers ready here. So let's go ahead and put a master sprinkler down, godly, advanced, and basic, and we'll go ahead and put our Tranquil Bloom down right here, and there we go. We're all set up. All right, so a bunch of people in the comments have been yelling at me to start using a Triceratops with the Mooncat so I can get better growth and stuff for my plants. So fine, dude, I'll do it. Okay, I have a couple of them in my inventory here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up one of our Mooncats. I'll pick up this guy who's all the way over here, not even making an effort. Mr. Samster, you're gone, buddy. All right, and then we're gonna place our Triceratops down, and our Triceratops every 3 minutes run into 3 random plants and advance their growth by 33 minutes. All right, so our Tranquil Bloom's only at 6%. Let's see our Triceratops. Let's see how much it advances the growth. Hopefully it just makes us get 100% right away. I think it might. I think it should be that quick. Let's see. Triceratops, go ahead and ram that Tranquil Bloom for us. Thank you. Bah! That only got us another 50%, but we wait for him to do it again, then this thing will be done. I mean, that was already half of it. All right, Triceratops is about to smack this again. This should, I think, grow it to full. Let's see. No, it's only at 82%. I think I'm just gonna wait for a minute here and let him finish up. So we'll come back in just a second and see what kind of fruits we can get. Okay, so I literally just got back from AFK, and I see something going on here. Oh my gosh, dude. Look how gigantic our Tranquil Blooms are. I think we're going to use this one for today and try to get every mutation on this big guy here. So I'm going to go ahead and put our sprays on it. So let's do, it already has Tranquil on it. So we'll go ahead and add pollinated to it, and then we'll add chocolate to it. And shock, that should be 4 mutations. And then we'll do honey glazed, and that should be 5. Go ahead and add that here. That should be 5 mutations. And we're going to go ahead and spawn in our queen bee to get its cooldown recharged. We're going to spawn in our butterfly. And that way we can get this big Tranquil Bloom here to rainbow. The queen bee will cool down our butterfly, and the butterfly will take all 5 mutations currently on this big Tranquil Bloom and convert that to rainbow. On our main account over here, we are also going to spawn a queen bee to start a cooldown process here with our kitsune, so that way we can get chakra instantly added to our big Tranquil Bloom as soon as it's done with getting rainbows. Let's wait for this thing to turn rainbow. I'm gonna get these other ones out of the way for now so we can actually see what we're working with, and then that way our kitsune over here will only target the big Tranquil Bloom. So I will be right back. All right, in less than a minute, our queen bee will cool down our butterfly and convert all of these mutations to rainbow. And with that, I did clean up the other big Tranquil Bloom, so we're down to just this big one here. Oh, and look at that. Perfect timing. We just got frost to spawn in. Okay, queen bee is done. Butterfly is going in. And our big Tranquil Bloom is now rainbow. So now we can go ahead and pick up our queen bee and our butterfly, and then we're going to go ahead and favorite this big guy so we don't accidentally pick him up. And with that, we're going to add some sprays onto him. We're going to pollinate it. We're going to put chocolate on it. We're going to put shocked on it. And then we're going to put our honey glaze sprinkler on it. All right. And then over here on our main account, we're going to have our main account apply the cloud touch spray on it. And my main account doesn't have any more amber sprays at the moment, so we're not going to do that for right now. But the Kitsune is also coming over here to steal our big Tranquil bloom. He just walked through it. Okay, yeah, he took the big one. There he goes. We now have 7 mutations on our Tranquil bloom, including Chakra from the Kitsune. I'm going to go ahead and favorite this again. And we're going to go ahead and try and get our Kappas here to add wet and then get bloodlet on this before we get this thing to turn frozen. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to spawn in 2 Kappas. That's 1. That's 2. And then we're going to spawn in 2 disco bees for now. So I guess we'll do 1 cooked owl for now, and then we'll do 1 chicken zombie as well. We're going to spawn in a pterodactyl to try and get windstruck, but also hopefully get us twisted so we can get tempestuous out of the way. And then finally, let's go ahead for now and spawn in a corrupted Kitsune, so this guy can give us the corrupted chakra mutation on this big guy here, and then maybe also give us corrupted foxfire chakra. And we have a sandstorm. Now we just had 1 sandstorm go by, so hopefully this one's a little bit more lucky. I guess what I'll go ahead and do then is travel this over here, because this is the lucky corner. That's literally almost going into my main account's garden, by the way. This is about to touch my main account. All right, but we'll see if this helps to get sandy at all. Wait a second. Is this the spray merchant? No way. The spray merchant's here. All right, I'm going to buy some of these just so I can make sure I have them. I wish the spray merchant sold the amber mutation, but he doesn't. Did we get sandy at all? No, we did not get sandy. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, because we have these Kappas that will give us the wet mutation, to save a little bit of time, though, I'm going to go ahead and keep that favorited, but I'm going to spray it with wet, just so that way this thing is already wet. And it's nighttime, but that way this thing will be wet, and then these Kappas can hopefully just convert that to bloodlet a little bit faster. I'm glad it's nighttime. This actually helps. I can save some time with the Tanukis later, so I don't have to wait for them to get this thing moonlit. This should hopefully get us moonlit pretty quickly. Normally we get it pretty fast. I don't have any night staffs though, is the only problem, but I guess we don't need it, because look at that, we just got moonlit. The events tonight are actually going crazy. We're getting everything that we need. Wow, are we getting lucky? All right, so now we have a meteor shower. We'll hopefully be able to get celestial added onto this. We do have our star crawler pretty close to this, so that should affect it. Let me see. So our cooked owl is about to do something. Let's see if we get burnt. Okay, that failed. That's fine. We'll just wait for the next round of that. Our pterodactyl is about to apply. Oh, did that just give us celestial? I think so. It just flickered. Let's see. Yep, we got celestial. Perfect. We're doing good today. We're getting lucky with these events. It's like the first time we're getting this many events. All right, let's see what he does. Okay, he's doing something. Oh, wait. Okay, he applied windstruck and twisted to Tranquil bloom. Let's see if it's the correct one, though. Tempestuous. Let's go, dude. He did it to the right one. All right, so our luck today is actually really good. I think last video our luck was really bad, and now it's just like the game likes us. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this pterodactyl here, and he is good. We don't need that guy anymore. All right, I guess for now, since we have that extra spot, I will spawn in another chicken zombie to hopefully get zombified out of the way. Ah, perfect. Applied. All right, so that's another mutation done. We can go ahead and pick up our disco bees. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now is actually spawn in my scarlet macaws here to get verdant. We did just buy some verdant sprays on my main account, but I'm going to save them for now because these guys should be able to give us verdant. And we do have a tranquil scarlet and a corrupted scarlet. So we should be able to get verdant, tranquil, and corrupted. If we don't get tranquil or corrupted, we'll at least get one of them in the event within the next 20 minutes should be the next one. Anyways, let's go ahead and do a quick check here. So we are now up to 12 mutations on our Tranquil bloom. Tempestuous technically is like 2 mutations, so I guess we'd be up to 13. All right, a bunch of our pets are about to finish their cooldowns, including our corrupted kitsune, both of our scarlet birds, and our chicken zombie here is almost done, and our cooked owl. So we might have a lot of mutations get applied, or we might have a lot of fails. I guess we'll wait and see. All right, so I think these guys are first going to do their verdant attempts. Let's see if we get verdant so we don't have to use that spray. That would be nice. We could save it. Okay, verdant is applied, but I don't know if that was the right one. Burnt failed, and corrupt chakra was just applied, but that was not foxfire corrupt chakra, but we still got that applied. So let me just go ahead and double check here. Okay, yeah, so we got Verdant, then we got Corrupt Chakra and regular Chakra, so now we have Harmonized Chakra, and yeah, Verdant actually went pretty quick the other day. It was taking forever, so that's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply Shocked to this little guy here, and I'm going to let my Raju here spawn in, and then he should target this, eat it, and then eventually apply Static to our big Tranquil Bloom. All right, our Cooked Owl just applied the Burnt Mutation to our Tranquil Bloom here. So we now have Burnt added onto there. I'm going to make sure I keep this favorited, though, because I don't want our Raju over here to eat our big Tranquil Bloom. Raju is about to add Static to our big Tranquil Bloom. It's about to eat it. And last time I thought it ran my pockets, but it actually gives you money. And it actually did give me money. Okay, I didn't know that because last time I was saying that it ran my pockets and then ate my fruit. But no, it actually gives you money and then it just eats one of your fruits. So you guys in the comments are right. I'm sorry that I'm stupid and dumb and stupid. Our Tranquil Bloom here now has Static applied to it and Burnt from those 2 mutations from our Cooked Owl and from our Rajus. Tranquility. All right. Well, I guess with that, Cappy here becomes completely useless because this is about to mutate this big guy into Tranquil. All right, that should be in. Yep, there we go. Our big guy is now Tranquil. So I can actually go ahead and just get rid of Cappy because we already have Verdant and Tranquil. So now this guy's useless. But our corrupted one here, Molly, maybe just maybe, will give us corrupted so we don't have to wait another hour for that event to come by. Okay, so a heat wave just spawned in and our tanning mirror just got smacked by a heat wave beam, which means that our Tranquil Bloom is now actually Paradisal, which just upgraded our Verdant, and now we have a better multiplier. All right, our chicken zombies officially applied Zombified to our Tranquil Bloom finally. So we have Zombified out of the way. So we can go ahead and pick up all of our chicken zombies here. And now it's pretty much just down to these two. Either our Scarlet will give us Corrupted or we'll just wait for the event to happen within the next 40 minutes. And our Kappas just need to get us Bloodlet. And then besides that, we just really need a Sandstorm and Aurora. But this thing is looking good. It should be pretty expensive. I'm hoping for over $1 trillion today for this thing. We should make some good money, I would think. I mean, look at the size of this, dude. All right, it is the hour mark, which means we now have a corrupted event. It does go back and forth, so now it's corrupted. Earlier it was Tranquil, but I don't know if we got Bloodlet at all, so I'm gonna go ahead and unfavorite this and see. And no, but our wet turned into Drench, so I don't know if these guys can actually give us Bloodlet if it's drenched instead of wet. I mean, drenched is pretty much the same thing as wet. It's just like a little bit of a better version of wet, but I don't know if they will affect that and give us Bloodlet anymore. At the same time, though, overall, we're still doing pretty good. I mean, this thing has 18 mutations on it. And again, if you separate some of these, like Tempestuous would be up to 19, Paradisal would be up to 20, and then Harmonized Chakra would be up to 21. So yeah, we have quite a lot of mutations on this thing. I do really want to get Bloodlet, but I don't know if we can anymore because we don't have wet. We only have drenched. All right, well, we've been at this for a few hours, and these Kappas have been placed as the first pet today, and have been sitting here for hours, and we still don't have Bloodlet, not even on these fruits over here that are wet. So I think at this rate, because we've been waiting and there's still no Bloodlet, and I don't even know if they can get drenched to Bloodlet, we're gonna go ahead and apply the chilled mutation to this for my main account. So now this thing can be frozen instead of drenched, and now we are up to 18 mutations still, but if you separate everything, it would be up to 22 total mutations. So pretty much all we'd really need at this rate, besides Bloodlet, we didn't get that. We would just need Aurora, and then we'd need Sandy, so we could turn Sandy into Ceramic. And then we'd pretty much have all of the legit mutations. Now, the one that we also are technically missing is Amber, but we have a shot at trying to get Amber whenever we pick this thing up because we have our Raptors here. So we are going to pick this thing up and check the value with Steven, and hopefully our Raptors actually help us out and possibly give us Amber. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pick up this big Tranquil Bloom, and we're going to check the value with Steven. All right, let's check it. And it's really hard to tell if it has amber. It doesn't look like the outer ice is the amber color, and I think it probably would have notified us if it was amber. I mean, this thing is huge, dude. I think we're not going to have any issues with pricing for today. I think this thing is going to definitely be worth. Let's go ahead and without further ado, check the value with Steven and see how much our Tranquil Bloom is worth. So Steven, what are we looking at? I'm hyped for this one. Only 163 billion actually for this giant Tranquil bloom with all of these mutations on it. I feel like this one should have been worth a lot more from how big the sizing was on it. I feel like the price for this thing is a little nerfed, and it probably needs a little bit of a buff for it being in the top 3 values of fruits in this game. But I think they are trying to crack down and nerf some of the values of fruits on this game because some of them are very expensive and they grow huge. Because of that, you can see like my main account, I've had some really big fruits and I'm over 1 quadrillion on it. In this video, we're going to attempt to get every single mutation on the new Zenrock's plant inside of Roblox Grow a Garden. And this should be interesting as it's pretty much like bamboo, but I don't know if the value is going to be worse or better than bamboo. And I also don't know what the size is. So this should be a fun one to try and get every single mutation on. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start spawning in some mooncats here. Let's spawn in all 8 of our mooncats. And hopefully these guys will help us get a really big Zenrock plant today. All right, that's all 8 of our mooncats. We're going to go ahead and stack our sprinklers now. Let's go ahead and do that. We're actually getting pretty low on our sprinklers, which is getting scary. So I got to make sure I stock back up. All right, there we go. We have all 4 sprinklers. We're going to go ahead and place some of these Zenrocks inside of here and see what size we can get on these things. I don't know if they're like bamboo where they grow really fast. That's my assumption. So I'm going to go ahead and plant a few of them and let's see what happens. All right, I don't actually see them anymore in the ground. Hello? Let me do some watering cans over here. I spread a couple of these around this area, but now I don't see anything. Well, one of them just became Tranquil, but I have no idea which one. I can't see. Oh, there they are. They're growing. They're growing. I really can't tell how big these things are going to be. They definitely look bigger than bamboo. They're definitely wider, so we'll see. And our mooncats are affecting some of them, so hopefully that helps them grow a little bit bigger. All right, I guess I'll throw some water on all of these just to see. Oh, there we go. Now they're starting to sprout up. Okay, that's better. Looks like this one is going to be our biggest one over here. It's only 25%, and it's already bigger than the ones that are at 30%, 40%. So I think we might have our Zenrocks. I'm going to go ahead and throw some more watering cans in there just to see what happens, see if this helps. All right, yeah, this 61% is pretty big. I think that's going to be our biggest one. Look at how it's like tilting. That is insane. So I'm going to go ahead and favorite this giant Zenrock tower right here. And then we're going to carefully pick up the rest of these. Did I even favorite the right one? I can't tell. Okay, now I favored it. That would have been bad. I almost picked them up. All right, we're good, though. We have our Zenrocks, and they do have Tranquil on them, which will save us 1 mutation slot to get this thing rainbow. But, yeah, these things are giant, like very, very tall. It actually hurts my eyes to look all the way up there. But let's go ahead and spawn in our queen bee to get the cooldown ready and spawn in our butterfly as well. This lovely queen bee right here will cool down our butterfly by a few minutes faster, and then we'll be able to get our Zenrock's rainbow. But to do that, we do need 5 mutations. We have Tranquil, which is our first one. So in order to add on to this, I'm going to put chocolate on there. We're going to put pollinated on there and shocked, and there we go. Now we have 4 mutations, and then I'm going to go ahead and add on a honey sprinkler, which will bring that to 5 mutations, and now we should be good to get rainbow. I also am going to unfavorite this because we need to make sure that the butterfly can actually apply the rainbow mutation, and we're just going to AFK for a minute, and we'll be back once all this fun stuff happens and we get rainbow. All right, we only have a few minutes left for that queen bee cooldown, so we're going to go ahead and give our queen bee a toy here, and that will actually cut down the timer to about 50 seconds left. We also have a tropical rainstorm going on right now, which could give us the drenched mutation. However, I didn't know you actually cannot stack drenched with frozen. I would always try to get drenched, but once you have frozen, it does not stack. Frozen is the best like wet mutation that you can get technically. So we're just going to go for frozen on our Zenrocks today. We're not going to really worry about the tropical rain being here at the moment. All right, but here we go. The queen bee is now cooling down our butterfly, and our butterfly should go ahead and apply the rainbow mutation to our Zenrocks. There we go. Our Zenrocks are now rainbow, so we can go ahead and pick these 2 up, and now we can go ahead and apply some other mutations back onto this. So let's go ahead and put our pollinated back onto those Zenrocks. We got cloud touch we can add, shocked. We also have chocolate. We're gonna go ahead and also put a honey sprinkler back down on this. There we go. We have honey glaze on our Zenrocks now. And then on our main account, we have a couple sprays we're going to use. So on our main account, we're going to go ahead and apply the amber mutation, and we're going to apply chilled. The last couple of videos, we did not go for chilled. We were going to try to get ceramic, and I heard that you couldn't get ceramic if you already had frozen. However, if we get frozen, all we have to do is get sandy and then apply wet to that, and then it's fine. All right, so we should have all of our mutations here. I guess the only thing we probably should have done, though, is actually applied wet first, and then we could have used our new Kappa pet here, because this guy actually will apply the wet mutation, and then it says that it has a 10% chance to replace wet mutations with bloodlet. But I guess we can't really get wet now directly on this, so we can still get moonlit though, so that's fine. We'll just note that for next video. So let's go ahead and spawn in 2 disco bees so we can work on getting disco mutated on our Zenrocks. We're going to spawn in 2 chicken zombies to get zombified. We're going to spawn in 2 cooked owls for either cooked or burnt. And then we're going to go ahead and just spawn in a scarlet for a chance to get the verdant mutation. That way we can get paradisal done if we get a heat wave event. And then we're also going to go ahead and get a sea turtle down so we can work on getting that chill to frozen quickly. At the time being though, we are up to 8 mutations currently. And with all these pets and some of the other pets we have to use, we should be able to get this thing stacked up very nicely with mutations. And hopefully we'd get a sandstorm though. We definitely need a sandstorm. Oh, it looks like my main account, Kitsune, is coming over here. Simon is about to apply chakra to my Zenrocks, and he just did. And he's yoinking them to go to my main account. All right, enjoy those, main account. And there we go. We now have the chakra mutation added on. And then hopefully with that, we can get the Foxfire chakra mutation added on to our Zenrocks. But so far, we did get the regular chakra mutation, so that's good to have on here. All right, our sea turtle just applied wet to our Zenrocks, which officially makes these Zenrocks frozen. So that is good because now when we have a sandstorm pass through, we can get sandy, and then we can reapply the sea turtle to get it to clay and then turn that to ceramic. Anyways, let's go ahead and pick up that sea turtle, and let's go ahead in the meantime spawn in a pterodactyl for the first time. We have one of these on these videos, and the pterodactyl will passively over time try to apply the windstruck mutation, but there's also an 18% chance to get twisted, so then we could get tempestuous, and that will be easy, so we can skip out on having to wait around for the tornado events. Our pterodactyl just used its ability and applied windstruck to our Zenrock, so now we have windstruck added on there. But conveniently, we actually had a windy event going on right when the pterodactyl added windy. However, we still need the pterodactyl to be around to hopefully apply the twisted mutation, as it can also do that. All right, we got some more toys here. Our cooked owls are almost ready, so I guess I'll just I'll feed them to these guys. All right, let's see if they do anything. Hello, cooked owls. Okay, well, I guess they applied burnt. I didn't see anything actually come up on the top notification, but they did end up applying burnt for us, which is good. Well, this is news to me. As you saw, my pterodactyl didn't do anything whenever the timer ran out. And that's because the pterodactyl actually does not apply twisted if your plant or fruit is already windstruck. So the pterodactyl has a chance to add twisted with windstruck, but if it does not apply windstruck and twisted at the same time to get tempestuous, then you won't get tempestuous. You have to actually get a twisted event to occur. But with that information, we are going to have to just pick up these pterodactyls. They did their job, and we kind of just wasted some time because we didn't know that, but that's fine. Now we can go ahead and place these tanukis. And these tanukis actually have a pretty short cooldown. It's only every 10 minutes, but every 10 minutes it can cause mischief and cause different mutations to happen. So you can either get like chocolate, I believe, and you can get moonlit, which is the one we're going to try and get with these guys, and you get a bunch of other ones. We're gonna hope that these guys will give us moonlit if we don't get a night event. All right, I got some more pet toys here. I'm going to attempt to feed to all my pets to see if it helps boost their chances of giving me anything. So, okay, I accidentally just used it on my Tanuki. I wanted to use these on my Scarlets here. Okay, that failed. Let's see if this one fails. That one failed, okay. We're just gonna give these to all of our current pets and see if we get any mutations. Okay, there we go. We got Disco done. All right, let's try it to our chicken zombies here. All right, so everyone should have a little bit of a boost now and should be able to hopefully get us mutations, but our disco bees are done, so we're gonna go ahead and pick those guys up and get them out of the way. And I guess because we still don't have our chicken zombies done or our scarlets for verdant or zombified, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn in another scarlet and another chicken zombie just to keep increasing our chances to get those done. But we do have disco added onto this now, which is 12 mutations added onto our Zenrocks. And there we go. Oh, a bunch of stuff just happened. Tanuki caused mischief, and it cooled down our Scarlet. That's good. And our chicken zombies are good. We have zombified applied to our Zenrocks. Now, also, this is not favorited. I should probably refavorite that just to be safe. I don't want to accidentally pick that up. So, chicken zombies are good. I'll pick these guys up. They will save the rest of their buffs for later. Our Scarlets are all placed down, and our Tanukis. So I guess what we'll do now is I'm going to also just go ahead and place this Mimic Octopus. I don't really care if he mimics our Scarlets or if he mimics the Tanukis. As long as he mimics any of them. Oh, I didn't even realize, but it is the top of the hour, which means Zen Aura event is happening, which now Tranquil is added back to our Zenrocks. So now we're up to 14 mutations on our Zenrocks, which is awesome. What I'm going to go ahead and do real quick is because I don't want to miss my opportunities on this account whenever the Zen Aura event actually goes away, is I'm going to make sure I actually go into the Zen shop and I purchase one of these pet shards for the Tranquil mutation. That way this account will have it and we can always make sure we can get Tranquil after this event ends. Right now it's so easy to get. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to one of my Scarlet birds here. I guess I'll do it to Cappy. Okay, so it looks like it is a 100% chance, but now Cappy has the ability to apply the Tranquil mutation every 20 minutes. So whenever this event actually does end, we can still get the Tranquil mutation. Okay, so one of our Tanukis just applied the Moonlit mutation to our Zenrocks, which is what we needed. So now we really don't even need a nighttime event. So I can pick up these two guys, and now it's just up to our Scarlets, which two of them are almost done with their cooldowns. And we also have our Mimic Octopus going to mimic them since they're the only pets now. So if we can get Verdant out of the way, then we can get this thing to Paradisal shortly. And then after we get Paradisal, then we can just focus on getting Ceramic and Celestial. Oh, okay. Well, if we didn't get the... Moonlit, I guess we would have gotten it now. All right, we finally got Verdant applied to our Zenrocks, which means now we just need to wait for a heat wave to get that Paradisal. And we also hopefully will get a sandstorm before we get a heat wave, so we can get Sandy, turn that into clay, and then get Ceramic. Okay, perfect timing. A tornado literally just spawned on top of my Zenrocks, and we just got a twisted tornado event, and instantly we got Tempestuous added to our Zenrocks, converted our Windstruck to Tempestuous. So I guess we're good. Literally the first tornado that spawned in was right here. Quick and easy, I guess, for this event. All right, we are about 4 hours into recording this, and we are still only at 16 mutations. We are missing Aurora, Celestial, and then I also wanted to get a Sandstorm so we can get that to turn into Ceramic, and then we could get a Heat Wave, so after we get the Ceramic, we can also get our Verdant to turn into Paradisal. But overall, we're really only missing, I guess, 3 mutations, and we could convert that Verdant to a better mutation, and that is pretty much all of the legit mutations we would be able to get without admin help. So overall, our Zenrocks are looking pretty good, and I think this is a good time to still check the price with Steven for the 16 mutations we have on this thing. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and unfavorite this to check the value. And again, I know people are always like, Bandites, use the magnifying glass. Well, the only reason I don't is because I swap these plants out every video and I clear my garden. So I'm going to pick it up no matter what. All right, but anyways, let's go ahead and unfavorite our Zenrocks here and go ahead and pick them up. This is going to be crazy to hold. Look at this thing, dude. All right, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and favorite it, and we're going to go ahead and walk over to Steven with our slanted Zenrocks. I hope I don't drop them, and let's see what the value is when I talk to Steven. Hello, man. I need you to give me a value for these Zenrocks. What are you thinking today, Steven? Let's check the value. All right, so these things are only worth 4 billion, and that is with 16 mutations on them. And I mean, honestly, that's not too bad. These things I feel like are kind of like bamboo, where you just kind of spam it around your garden. So if I had a pile of these, I spammed all these mutations on a pile of Zenrocks, then honestly, in the end, this thing would have made a lot of money. For just making one, I don't know if this is very much worth it. Now, I'll leave that up to you guys. Let me know down in the comments below if this is worth it, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.